Hey folks, it's Friday night and you know what that means. Hello everybody and welcome to the Tardis Zone Talks. Yes, we are back to normal. Tardis Zone Talks back on a Friday. Nice to see you all here. Hope you are all doing well. Hope our new year is better than the start of last year for some of you. Nice to be back to normal. Have to be honest. See 25 of you are watching right now. If you just do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, share that stream, folks. Share that stream. So before we start, I'll just see who's in the chat there. Let's see who we've got tonight. Right, jeez, I hate the way that does that. Right. Hopefully, there you go. No problems now tonight with the owl mouse. That's good. Right, so we got Charlotte in the chat. We got Kelly in the chat. We got Marty, Raymond, Disaster Area. We've got John in the chat as well. Dave traveled through time. His second channel. His first channel was hacked. Retro Dicky. We've got John Steed. I mentioned you. Welcome again. Rob Fellows is in the chat as well. Retro Dicky. Chris Persia is also in the chat. Welcome, Chris. Dr. Dave is in the chat. Who else have we got? Nicholas Horton is in the chat. Welcome. And we have Problem Being, Dr. Dave, Peter D, the classic 80s fanboy, the Thing King, Andrew Broadbent, and I think James Dawson. There you go. I knew there was another name there somewhere. And I think that's everybody. If I've forgotten anybody, let me know. But I think that's everybody. Right, so you know how this works. This is the opportunity for anybody that doesn't normally get the opportunity to come on, and it's called the Tardis Zone Talks. It's not strictly restricted to Doctor Who. Just want to make that clear. You can talk about anything that's happening in the world of pop culture, and I just want to make something clear though, right? Now, because of everything that's going on in America, right? Okay. YouTube have put new rules in place now, right? Now, you know me, I'm not for censoring people or anything. You know I don't do that, right? But YouTube does. So they have new rules in place. So I just have to be out straight and say this. I don't want any political talk in the chat, if you don't mind. Nothing about what's going on in America or about the election specifically, because YouTube are coming down hard. There's certain things you can't say. So just be wary in the chat. So I don't want any of that in the chat. You know me, I'm not for censoring. It's YouTube, and I have to protect my channel, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm sorry, but at the bottom line is you know, this channel means a lot to me, and it means a lot to other people out there. So I will do everything in my power to protect this channel, and unfortunately, that is the way. That's the way the climate is at the moment. So that's the reality of the situation. And I won't be allowing any of me panelists either to bring it up on the panel. And anyway, I have to be honest, since we started the panels up again, we've kept strictly to the topic of conversation. We've talked about other pop culture stuff, obviously, but we've kept all of that stuff out. So, we're going to continue to do that on the panels. We're going to stick to the topic of conversation on whatever we're watching, and we're not going to bring any of this. Listen, this is escapism anyway. YouTube is supposed to be escapism, right? And if people out there want to highlight it, that's fine, fair enough. But I don't want to on this channel. It's not what the channel is for. It's for pop culture, and that's all it is for. So, right. Well, I see Lee is in the chat anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him on because, he does be backstage. He's going to vet. If that's okay with you, Lee, actually, I don't know if you're up for doing that tonight. Let me know. We got Tim in the chat as well, actually, and we got Leland in the chat. Welcome. As I said, Tardis Zone Talks is where you guys get the opportunity to come on and talk about anything in pop culture. We've got PD Rich as well in the chat as well. Welcome. It's nice to have you all here again on a Friday evening. We've also got Maz in the chat and Chris Mind in the chat as well. Welcome, guys. Nice to have you all on board. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, please, guys. And please make sure that you are still subscribed because YouTube is talking. I was doing a lot of nonsense. Leland has asked, well, what you call it? Black Glove Studios. Chris has been in touch with me, and we will be doing something. He has sent me all those audios, so I'm gonna listen because I did listen to the first couple of parts that he sent me. So I'm gonna listen to the whole lot over maybe this week. Well, not this weekend because I have promised on Sunday to do a couple of episodes of Blake 7 behind the scenes. So I'm going to do that. So it'll probably be the weekend after where I listen to that audio and then bring Chris on then. And maybe some of the... actually, Lee was in one of these audios lately, I think, as well. So maybe bring Lee on and a couple of more of the other people that he managed to do some of these voice characters for you. And we'll do a whole thing, yeah. Don't worry, Chris has been keeping me informed on all of the stuff that he's been doing. So yeah, and I enjoyed the first two parts, so it was absolutely brilliant. I was boggled, man. I even said at the time after listening to the first two parts, this is how you do a good Doctor Who audio. Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, they're Ballstreck knows them, so they're very good. That's how I think I got introduced to them, through Ballstreck, actually. And a lot of other people out there have fan audios as well, like Beware, that Charlotte and Daniel review. And I want to give a special shout out to Daniel. You'll notice that he's not in the chat. Daniel's decided to take a break and just concentrate on his family and his channel. And that's fair enough. I understand that. You get to a stage on YouTube where you kind of want to do your own thing for a while. I done it myself. So I wish Daniel the best. And whenever he's ready to come back, he has a spot on this channel anyway. He always will. So whenever he feels like coming back, he's more than welcome. So don't forget to subscribe to Daniel's channel. Show him your love and support, will you, guys? As I said, he's concentrating on family and his channel. So give him that support. Let's get his channel up in views, up in subs. Because he deserves it. He's it's just everything with this lockdown, basically. Like everybody, it's getting to him. It's getting to me. It's getting to everybody. And he needs a bit of a break. So whenever he's ready to come back, he has his spot. And he'll always have his spot. so he doesn't have to worry about that. So if you're listening, Daniel, and you're not in the chat, I just want to say we're all, whenever you're ready to come back, understand what you're going through. We're all going through the same thing, so we actually all do understand. But listen, know how much you're missing Celtic. Where, as I said to you in the message, right? Don't be worrying, pal. You'll go back to Celtic Park. You will be back in Celtic Park cheering on your team. That's what's depressing him the most as well, is not being able to go and see his football team, because he lives for that. He lives for his team, and he lives for his channel, lives for his family. And this lockdown is hard on everybody, and it's not, it's not a nice moment for us all. But we'll get through it all. We'll get through it all, and Daniel will be there roaring on the mighty Celtic. So don't worry about it, Daniel. Don't let it get you down too much, but I can understand why it is. But just try keep your chin up, pal. You will get to see Celtic again. Don't worry. So yeah. So that's that. Eddie of Scarrow is reporting now. Obviously, rumor mill. He's reporting that they haven't come back from their Christmas break. It looks like there's going to be a delay, maybe a week delay. Obviously, a lot of things have happened since we learned they were filming. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's a rumor, of course. It's not verified. But again, I will say this, BBC had plenty of opportunity to snip all this rumor and speculation in the nip it in the bud, and they haven't, and it's escalated. And the latest I've heard is that the Jodie Whittaker fans and the J-bots have all come together, and they've set up this poll somewhere. They think a poll is going to make BBC or Jodie Whittaker, whoever made the decision, to reverse that decision. Listen, they haven't listened to us in 3.5 years, but it didn't stop us from fighting. I'm not going to tell you that you are wasting your time. We already know it's a waste of time because they wouldn't listen to us. But if that's what you need to do, then do it. I've not, you know what? I think it is a little bit funny, but at the end of the day, if that's what you want to do it. Do it. It's not going to make a difference, though. If Jodie Whittaker has made this decision, she is not going to change her mind, because some fans have banded together to create a poll to try get her to stay. Getting in contact with Jodie Whittaker's agent is not going to help either. Actually, I would go as far as to say, if you keep pestering her agent, she'll probably get so annoyed that that's not going to look good. If you're trying to convince Whittaker to stay, getting in touch with our agent is not the way to do it. But again, do what you feel you need to do. But at the end of the day, the decision is made, and whoever has made that decision is not going to change their mind. If it was Jodie Whittaker that made that decision, she's not going to change her mind. You are asking her to give up the chance of having more kids. You are asking her to give up the chance to explore other avenues out there of acting. That's what you are doing. You are being selfish, right? That's the difference between, unfortunately, that is the big difference between a female doctor and a male doctor. Yes, a man doctor might be married and his wife might have kids, but it wouldn't affect him as much as it would if a woman who's playing the doctor got pregnant and wants to have kids. And that's the thing. You can't be selfish, right? So for all yous out there saying, oh, you wanted her to stay for 6, 7, 8 years, when you are asking her to put off having kids for that long, right? And she's in her 30s now. So don't be selfish. I mightn't like the woman as an actress because, I do believe she made mistakes along the way, didn't help with the showrunner that she had. But still, you are asking her to give up the family life so you can all feel great about yourselves, I'm sorry. Don't be selfish, right? 3 years is the norm. 3 years in New Who anyway is the norm, and 3 years is what she was gonna always do, apparently. So, don't be selfish. Let her go. Enjoy our last series, and let her go. It's as simple as that. Right? No petition, no getting in touch with her. And by the way, the people, I just want to say though, the people that are faking fake conversations and trying to make out that Manip Gill is talking to you all is not only pathetic, but it's also quite shocking that you would include or you would bring her name up in a conversation where people are using a lot of bad language, using the C word, using the F word, and you're trying to make us believe that she was in that thread, that conversation, and she's telling you all, oh, don't worry, I've just talked to Jodie Whittaker. She's staying. By the way, even if that did happen, right, which it didn't, but even if that did happen, right, and fans did manage to get in contact with Manip Gill, Manip Gill is going to give you the official line. So whatever the official line is from BBC, they will tell her what it is. So if they say, listen, if fans ask you if Jodie Whittaker is staying, this is what you have to say. She's under contract and she will say what they tell her to say. So if they told her to say, if fans ask if Jodie Whittaker is staying, just say that she is. She will say that, right? But I don't believe for 1 second, and look at they're delusional. It's so obvious that it's fake, that they're faking conversations. It's actually pathetic. I've actually showed a tweet where someone has actually said that they've gotten in contact with Jodie Whittaker's agent. This is actually really bad, and it's showing them up for who they are. I did a brief video a couple of days back where I showed you. Right, they're still using their sock accounts, but they're no longer, the mask or the veil has slipped, because basically what's happening is now is they're actually using their own accounts as well. They don't care anymore. And it's sad to see. I mean, look, people will criticize me on that side and say, well, you've always wanted Jodie to go. Yeah, I won't go behind the door about that. I don't like her as the Doctor. Of course, I've always wanted her to go, but I've always tried to warn you guys to enjoy this era instead of going and attacking fans the way you've been going around. I told you, I used to say, enjoy the era, because eras come and go, and she will leave one day. And I warned you, I said it. She will leave one day. She'll be gone one day, and then you won't have you as our Doctor. All eras come to an end, and then there's a new beginning, and there will be a new beginning. But unfortunately, for some fans, and I'm the same, but I'm still willing to see what happens. But for some fans, they're done because Chris Chibnall is still there. Now, here's the thing, though. I'm just going to put that out there. We don't know for a fact if he's staying, right? It's only reported that Jodie Whittaker is gone. But you see, I came up with this, and I'm only speculating here, but I came up with something last night. Well, maybe they knew that the Whittaker news was going to leak at some stage, right? And maybe they decided to let people run with it, right? And then when they're asked to come out and say, well, what's the story? They've basically said, we're not going to comment, right? But what's everybody doing right now, right? You've got her fans and you've got the bots. They're all working tirelessly to try and get her to stay, right? And then what are we doing? We're reporting on that she's leaving and we're talking about it. All the meanwhile, nobody's concentrating on Chris Chibnall, right? Remember, Jodie Whittaker did say this, right? And this is true. She did actually say this. She said she wouldn't leave Doctor Who until Chris Chibnall left Doctor Who. So here's a question I'll ask is, has their relationship broke down? Or is the fact that the matter is that the reason why the Whittaker news was actually deliberately leaked is because they're trying to distract people from the fact that Chris Chibnall is actually gone too? Maybe the two of them are gone. Now I'm speculating. I haven't been told this. I'm just speculating. Want to make that clear, because there's a few airheads out there don't know the difference between fact and speculation. So I just want to get that out there. But what if the news of Jodie Whittaker was right? Because that's distracted us all. We're all talking about it. Even people that say, well, I'm not going to talk about it, are talking about it, right? We're all distracted by it. So we're all busy with that. And Chris Chibnall's probably already making plans for his departure. Just saying. And remember, someone has said in the chat as well, he has a form for walking off shows, which he did for Chaos in Cardiff. People can deny that all they want. We showed ample evidence that actually proved that it did happen. He can deny it, but it happened. See, here's the thing. The reason why I haven't gloated and went, ha, 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 I was right, and all of this, is because I let me news do the speaking. And this is why I'm not saying anything about the rest of it. It's because I know in years to come, Chaos in Cardiff and all of that other rubbish will be revealed. Right? Won't have to say I told you so. I'll just let me news do the talking. Right? That's it. We'll just let the news. But there's the thing, yeah. Now that Jodie is gone, obviously, Chris Chibnall is exposed. But you see, here's the thing, and here's the thing, though. He's got Piers Wenger backing him up. So I don't think he's as open as people believe that he is. I know Rabbi did a video and he was asking the question, do you think this will, has this left Chris Chibnall exposed? I would have to say no, because for the simple fact of the matter is he's got the backing of Piers Wenger. Once you've got the backing of Piers Wenger, could be all right. See, for Chris Chibnall, they'll probably say to him, right, well, listen, this is the deal. Either you go or she goes. And, knowing the sniveling little snake that he is, or maybe he has to stay because of the HBO, because we did speak about that, and I know other YouTubers actually spoke about that as well. Maybe it was part of his contract, which I don't think, I believe, would have been the case. I don't know why you would do that. That's actually ridiculous. But anyway, that was something that was thrown out there. We can't dismiss it. Just throw it out there anyway. But I don't know. I do agree with fans, though. He has to go. But one part of the problem is gone. Now we've got to get the main part of the problem. That's why I think if the media are going after Chris Chibnall now, this is the time where you fans, because I've been telling you for months and this last year especially, that the main problem with this show is Chris Chibnall. So if the newspapers are going after him, now it's time for us fans to start putting the pressure on. Chris Chibnall, even the Jodie Whittaker fans deep down will know that it's his fault. So why not band together? If Jodie Whittaker is gone, why not band together in this one common cause to have Chris Chibnall remove the showrunner? Why not? Why not? Why not for once us come together as fans and get rid of the man that destroyed your doctor and, as far as we're concerned, destroyed their show? Right? Why not band together? And let's get rid of the man that's really responsible. And get rid of the man above him as well, which is Piers Wenger, right? That's what we should do. We should unite in a common cause to get rid of that man out of this show. Because he's done nothing but destroy it. And he's done nothing but destroy your first ever female doctor that you've all got behind. He destroyed your doctor, right? He's the one with the bad writing, okay? And he's the one that's supported by Wenger. So why not, for once in our lives as a feckin' fandom, why not show the rest of the fandoms out there how to do it? And let's come together in one common cause to get rid of the man that destroyed your doctor and destroyed our show. Why not? Why fight each other all the time? Seriously. Are we not done with this? The main problem's still going to be here. Because when the new doctor comes in, we're still going to have the same problems. Doesn't matter who he brings in. He could bring in Denzel fucking Washington and it still wouldn't work. He's the problem. His boss is the problem. So let's come together for once and get rid of Chris Chibnall. And if Jodie Whittaker is gone, he should go with her, right? He should suffer the consequences for what he did. He is responsible for your doctor for not being as popular as she should have been, right? You want to know why she wasn't popular? Because the way she was written, okay? Yes, she said things. We'll forget all about that right now, right? But we get down to the heart and core of the situation. He chose her. She was miscast. Then when he got her in, he told her, listen, I don't want you to watch Doctor Who because if you're watching, you might get ideas. And I don't want you to have ideas because I'm going to show you how to do it my way. Right? So he's the one that gave her the bad advice. He's the one that wrote the stories, his team. He's the one that got his directors to the director. He's an absolute joke. Right? I was never a fan of the female doctor, right? But if this had been done properly by someone that was half competent, we would have had something decent. And now he's at the Robin. And this is the way you Jodie fans and you J-bots should be thinking. For all yous that want this female doctor, this is the one thing that you should be all thinking now. He has ruined it for any other woman to take over this role now because of what he has done with Jodie Whittaker's doctor. That is the legacy he has left behind. So they will never, and I'm telling you now, it will take years for them to cast another woman. Right? Because I don't believe the next doctor is going to be a woman like some have speculated or some are hoping or some wanted because they want to upset fans. I'm sorry to let you know, right? Piers Wenger, it's already been known since last year, right? When Chris Chibnall was going to live, right? That Piers Wenger wants a traditional doctor. We spoke about it on this channel. He wants a traditional doctor, i.e. a male doctor. This is why you're not going to get any announcement from the BBC right now. I'm going to speculate right now. I'm going to tell you, most fans out there think there's going to be an announcement made in the summer, right? That's when they officially wrap up filming, near the end of summer, right? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be an announcement until Series 13, either before Series 13 drops or while in the middle of Series 13 to surprise fans. More than likely, it'll just be before it drops, right? To get people to generate the hype, to get people to watch Jodie Whittaker's last season, right? They're going to leave it to the last second, especially if it's a male doctor, because they already know that the other side that they've been pandering to for the last 3.5 years are going to kick up stink, right? So they want to avoid as much drama and controversy as possible. Now, some are saying, well, they might have to, they might have to tell us who the new doctor is because we might see them on set. Well, I'm sorry. Nobody knew that Whittaker was going to be the doctor. They'll close the bloody set, right? Unless there's someone that really has the balls to come out and leak that. Then we probably won't know who the new doctor is until they announce it. We might get lucky. We might get lucky here. We might find out who the new doctor is. But fingers crossed, you know what I mean? But I'm telling you, the two main men are still in charge. And while they're still in charge, as I said, you could bring in Denzel fucking Washington. You could bring in whoever the fuck, Tom Hanks. You could bring in who you want. It's not going to work. He already destroyed the first female doctor. Why do you think he'll do any better? We must unite for once. Even if we don't like it, even if it's an uncomfortable alliance, we have to get rid of Chris Chibnall and Piers Wenger. If we don't, Doctor Who is not going to last past the 60th. It's as simple as that. got a funny feeling anyway they might actually kill it dead after that. Put it on the shelf for a few years. We don't want that as Doctor Who fans. We want it to continue for as long as it's good. Right now it's going through a rough patch, yes. But the two men that are responsible for that rough patch are still there. Doesn't matter if Jodie is gone. She wasn't the biggest fucking problem. Well, that's the new rumour going around. 6 episodes and 2 specials now. 6 episodes and 2 specials now. Right? Now, obviously, Chris Chibnall can hide behind this whole pandemic thing and say that he can't produce episodes. But let's remember this, folks. Chris Chibnall, before the pandemic, couldn't even get bleeding Series 11 out fast enough, could he? Or quick enough. We had to wait ages. It took him ages to write Series 11. And then we get less episodes. And now they're getting lesser and lesser and lesser. He continues down this path, give it 3 years and we'll have 3 episodes a year. Or 3 episodes every 2 years. I know that the other side won't listen to me because they hate me so much. But I wish they would just listen to me on this one. We do need to unite to get rid of Chris Chibnall. Only then can we get someone in that will pander to all of us. That'll pander to all of us. Remember, Doctor Who, we've no problem with new fans. Right? Doctor Who is for everybody. But they must remember that, you know, that there are fans in fandoms that are going to have different opinions. We can't go back to the days where people are attacking each other for having different opinions. And that has to stop. This is the one thing I hope we learn from this Chris Chibnall era. This is why it needs to end now, because as long as he's still there, this rubbish is going to still continue in the fandom. He has to go. You have to cut the cancer from its source. And Chris Chibnall and Piers Wenger are that source. And they need to be cut out. I mean, you can't even have YouTubers out there who are relatively less controversial, let's say, than I am, being attacked because they didn't like the festive special. Now, as some of you know, right, I liked some elements of the festive special. Now, if anybody in this chat had a problem with that, you know how I feel. I tell you to basically get fucked. You have your own opinions. I have mine. If you don't like it, walk away. Simple as that. Right? But to attack these people, right, because they didn't like elements and they have come out and said it's bit, you know, look. Do you know what's annoyed me though? Is that finally a lot of people are speaking up. Right? Finally a lot of people are speaking up. Where were you for 2 years? Where were you for 3 years? Why did you all give up so easy? You know? I can understand just walking away from the show. I can understand anybody walking away from a show. Right? But I mean, keep fighting the fight. You know? You can still highlight how bad Chris Chibnall is. You know? I just don't know. It's not going to work if he continues. But listen, I've had me little rant now for half an hour. I've let you know how I feel. I've now asked us all to come together. I don't think I can make it much clearer than that. We do have a common goal, and that's to get rid of Chris Chibnall. A lot of you do know deep down, especially you Jodie Whittaker fans, you all know deep down that the reason why this has failed is not because of us. And you can finger blame us or point the finger all you want and say it's us because we're the easy target. But you know deep down that the real villain in all of this piece is Chris Chibnall. And the sooner you wise up to that and actually come to terms with that, then the quicker then we can actually do something as a fandom and get him out. Could you imagine if we banded together, right, in one common goal to have Chris Chibnall removed? Hashtag Chris Chibnall out or hashtag Chris Chibnall out. Imagine if we all tweeted that, right? And kept tweeting it, right? We banded together, got rid of that man. He ruined your first female doctor, and you should be pissed about that. And if you aren't, then it just proves our point that you aren't really fans and you don't really care, right? If you really care about something, right, you will actually, when it comes to an end and you know who's responsible for that ending, then you should really be, highlighting why. And Chris Chibnall is the reason why. He's brought in a team of amateurs, soap writers, and it hasn't worked. Sometimes it can. Not saying that you necessarily have to have experience, but it's always good to have inexperience with a little bit of experience mixed in there. And the experience is in there to guide the inexperienced. And, that's the way it should be done. But he didn't do it that way. He decided to do an overhaul. It's like, what's the best analogy to use? It's like when a new manager comes into a football team and makes loads of different changes and gets rid of things that you're familiar with. Like, for example, Brian Clough with Leeds United. He went to Leeds United, he made a load of changes, and after whatever how many days it was the shortest reign, and he was sacked by Leeds United. Right? Then it was all revealed that he stopped them from doing certain things, and they had certain rituals, and he changed everything up. Right? It's the same with Doctor Who. You can't just come in and decide after 50 odd years that you're going to change it up because you don't like it. Right? You have a responsibility to safeguard this show. You are custodians for 3 or 4 years or whatever how long your reign runs for. And your job is to protect that and to add to the law. Yeah, you can add to canon, add to the law. But what you must not ever do is come in and destroy everything that is familiar. And that's exactly what he has done. He has destroyed everything that is familiar. He has, and that's why people have turned their back on this show. It is only Doctor Who in name. This is unrecognizable for the show that it was under Peter Capaldi's reign even. And that's sad to see. And that's all Chris Chibnall's fault. So, again, as I said, we should all come together in one common cause to have him removed as showrunner. If you really care about Whittaker and our doctor, well, then you will care that he was responsible for her downfall with his shoddy scripts, his bad writing, and he doesn't explain that. And then when he does, it's like talking to a bloody 7-year-old. He forgets that adults watch Doctor Who as well. It's not a children's program. It's a family program. And there must be some adult themes in there as well. Disney do it with their cartoons, with their animations. Yeah, they're able to get the adults to watch the movies because they know what to do, right? Chris Chibnall's clueless. He's making it for 5, 6, 7-year-olds, right? Explains everything on the screen. This is why fans like us are bored, right? You don't need to explain every single fucking thing. If a kid doesn't know how to figure something out, that's why the parents are there. The parents then, that's how they interact with their kids when it comes to Doctor Who. Then they can sit their kid down and say, Daddy, I didn't understand, blah, blah. And then Daddy can go or Mommy can go, well, this is what I meant by this, son. And that's how the conversation starts. That's how people become fans of the show because there's constant conversation. Right? There's no conversation with this, right? He puts up an episode that explains everything, but what's there to talk about then afterwards? Right? He's explained everything. Your kid will go into the room, oh, I thought the hell's on that. No conversation with your kid anymore. Because they say, what happened here? What happened there? No. Chibnall tells you everything. Right, we've got a few more people in the chat. So, as I said, this is the opportunity for you guys to come on and to talk about art and pop culture that he's want to talk about. So here we go. I think you all know what's coming now. I'm putting the link in the chat. Now, I'm not bringing anybody on yet, right? What I'm going to do is, now the link is in the chat, I'm going to send Lee, who's going to be, now, Lee already explained the rules, but I'll bring him on while we're waiting for people to come in the studio. Actually, I'm sending him an email, but he probably just bleed and hop on with the link, but I'll send him the email anyway. Now, remember, there's a verification process to come on. So I don't want to hear, right, because, you know, we had someone pretending to be someone, and he says, well, if you don't believe it's me, no, we won't believe you. If you normally put on your camera and we ask you backstage to put your camera on where nobody else can see your face and you refuse to, you won't be coming on. It's as simple as that. So I can verify that the two people that are in the studio now are who they are, Lee. So you don't have to when you come in. I've sent you the email, by the way, Lee, but the link is in the chat if you just want to probably be easier. But we got two people waiting. So if you want to come on, this is your opportunity, right? We got a super chat, so we'll read out the old super chat here, see what we've got. So we got a €5 super chat. I don't really see many Euro super chats. It's always American or English or something, but very rarely Euro. So that's deadly. I love seeing the Euro symbol. That's why, even though it's we won't get into Europe anyway. It's funny how the BBC hasn't debunked Jodie's exit, and BBC announced what the papers are saying under the bus, Jodie. Yeah, I know, BBC News, and I'll put that video up on the, I took a little video and I threw it up on the YouTube channel, and the BBC, the news presenter and a couple of the journalists were reading the articles, and they even said, now they did say some stupid things, but the one thing that they did say is that Chris Chibnall is the one who's to blame. They even said it, let her down. Your woman even says she felt sorry for Jodie Whittaker's doctor. So there is a lot of, look, she's getting the sympathy. And look, whether we agree with it or not, you know, in fairness, I think there's a little justification in it, you know, because she hasn't, listen, we will never know what the Jodie Whittaker doctor would have looked like because we didn't get a decent writer to go with her. So we don't know what she would have been. And we got robbed. She got robbed of that too. So, you know, not only has he robbed it for Jodie Whittaker, he's robbed it for another woman as well. Remember that. So this is it's a whole painful process. Right, let's bring on Lee for a couple of minutes. Lee is going to tell you the process. But Lee, I can actually tell you that the two people in the studio right now are who they are because they have their cameras on. So you don't have to worry. But I'll bring them on. So here's Lee.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm good, pal. I'm good. Right, go on. Explain the rules to people, and then if you want to get something off your chest before you leave, you're more than...
Oh, I was just going to say, as a reminder to the Jodie Whittaker types out there and the Chibnallites, Doctor Who's always been about change.
Yeah. But you see,
remember that they've been telling us that for 3 years.
Now that it's changed that they don't like, it's different now. See the hypocrisy. It's quite funny now because now all of a sudden, you know, they're all scrambling. See, they said a lot of things over the years has come back to bite them all now. It is about change, and it always is about change. And listen, yes, while I'm slightly happy that she's gone, if true,
means jack shit if Chibnall remains.
It still doesn't fill me with comfort because we have the culprit who's responsible for the downfall of her doctor and of this whole show, and that's Chris Chibnall. So a lot of people, rightly so, are saying, you know, well, Chris Chibnall's still there, so it doesn't make a difference, and I agree.
Yeah, Yeah, and quite honestly, I think there might be a way to get him out. I think now, because the press has begun to turn on him, the crazy bitches on the extreme left, the postmodernists, all this intersectionalist, have turned on him for ruining her. Even the Jodie fans are saying, "Oh, well, I'd rather have another season, but with someone else writing for her to give her more of a chance to shine." I don't see it happening, quite frankly. I think the only way she will shine is if she puts her fingers in the electric socket. But quite frankly, not that I'm wishing her to do that. Obviously, that would be insane. But I think that it's quite telling that the press have now started to go after him. So I think we should strike whilst the iron is hot.
That's what I'm saying, but you know, there's, because they're so hateful, they obviously, my plea is going to fall on deaf ears, which is sad because he is the culprit. He is.
Yeah, well, him and Wenger. You know, I mean, Pierce Wanger and his no straight white man will ever be a leading actor in the show or any show on the BBC drama whilst he's in charge. That's pretty much what he was saying. You know, and I think that's a pretty sad indictment of where the BBC's at, quite frankly. I just think that it doesn't matter so much. I think they just need to cast the best person for the role and stop this petty, you know, bigotry based on immutable characteristics, and just focus on the best person for the job, and not miscast people horribly because they've got the right color skin or the right genitalia or the right sexuality or whatever. I just think it's incredibly divisive and very small-minded. Whilst we can all agree that the idea is a fair one, the way it's employed is so cynical. It defies belief, and I think that it does more harm to minority groups this way because it's so heavy-handed, and it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel natural. It just feels so forced and completely contrived. And I think it should be absolutely resisted, because I think all that really matters is people of talent.
Yeah, I agree.
And that goes for the writing, not just the casting, you know.
Right, we got Raymond O'Reilly in. He has his camera on as well, so I know that's him as well. And we got John Steed in the studio as well, Lee. Now I can't verify whether it's him or not because sometimes he uses his phone. Hold on. He's put his camera on. It is him. It is. So everybody so far is verified. So you don't need to ask them. If any new people come into the studio, obviously I'll alert you and let you know. But
I want to see Babette Bombshell on. My God, that's fabulous. Just check that channel out. It's amazing. So if they want to come on, that'd be fab. But yeah, if you are coming on, if you do have a camera and you're willing to show Noel your fizzog, do it. That would be great. Saves me a job. If you do come on and you come backstage, if you can please announce yourself so I know that you're there and waiting. And if you can link me to your social media or anything that can verify that it is you, that would be great. Otherwise, you're not coming on. I don't want to hear any arguments.
Actually, I should make clear as well. If the social media accounts happen to be set up, say, in the last 2 months, not happening either, because you know, come on.
If you're new to the Tardis Zone talks and you're not willing to, you know, provide evidence of who you are, because we've had enough trolls and whatnot trying to come in and disrupt things.
I just blocked them now, and I've got a lot of peace. I want to keep it that way. So that's exactly so. Just follow the rules. They're simple rules. Listen, it's not that hard, but it seems to be hard for people nowadays. We've had one or two the last time we had one. Hopefully tonight we'll have a peaceful night. But if your aim is just to come on and disrupt, you're not going to get the chance to. So you're wasting your time. Okay, so just as I said, there's more important things to be worried about. So cop onto yourselves, get a life, and enjoy it, because it's short. Everybody's life is short, so enjoy it, instead of getting into petty feuds all the time. I'm actually sick of it all now, to be quite honest. Even yesterday, the behavior of some people, I was kind of like, I took a step back and I was like, really?
Oh, I found it quite interesting as well that Perpetual Nightmare, pain in the ass, not my doctor on Twitter, did very little in the way of celebrating William Hartnell's birthday today. Not a post, nothing. They just picked on someone else that they wanted to pick on.
They're not Doctor Who fans. They never were. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to buy into this line anymore that these fans were fans, right? They were never fans of this era. They weren't. They're not fans. They're fans of the ideology and the politics. They're not fans of Dr. Bloody Who.
Well, I mean that proves that, doesn't it? I mean they couldn't even post something positive about Bill Hartnell on his birthday. Everyone else has been doing it.
Even the way they talk, they're not fans. They know nothing about the history of the show, right?
And this is the positive side of the fandom, apparently. Even though all they do is pick people out just to bully them. I mean, it's unconscionable to me. Frankly.
It's like those that when the newspapers even comment on Star Wars, when they call them Star Wars fans, giving out about Baby Yoda eating. They weren't Star Wars fans. Stop calling them Star Wars fans. Stop calling them Doctor Who fans. They're not. They're a mob. They're a cult, whatever you want to call them. They're not real fans. They infiltrate each fandom. Right? They come in, they spew their ideology, and before you know it, then the show is spewing their ideology, and then before you know it, the show is unrecognizable. The fandom is being taken over by a bunch of lunatics. They are not fans. They never were. Right? The reason why they attack us is because they know this. We expose them for what they are. And even this announcement now has proved to everybody they haven't got a clue. They're setting up sad little petitions. They think she's going to change her mind if she's made the decision. If she's made that decision, no petition, no going to her agent, no ringing the BBC. They haven't listened to us for 3.5 years. Why do you think they're going to listen to you guys now? They know they're in trouble. They know the show is in trouble, and they have to change course now.
But they got another 900,000 people tuning in on iPlayer.
They got record numbers apparently. Yeah. Now again. But I will say,
lockdown. But hey, look, even so, it's still, like having an extra million, like was what Peter Capaldi was. I mean, I think Peter Capaldi was getting something like 2 million in rewatches.
No, you're right. But listen, it doesn't make a difference anyway. Do you know why? It's because who's releasing the numbers? Who's releasing the numbers? I would be listening to Ant and they say the record numbers, right?
Look, how difficult is it? How difficult is it?
The BBC is in trouble, and yet then all of a sudden they
how difficult is it? How difficult is it? How difficult is it for these people to put that episode on a loop? on iPlayer, have it playing in the background. These people, these people rig polls, they rig.
For a minute. 10 seconds is all they need. All they need to do is
more than likely they can just keep replaying it.
It doesn't matter. That comes out.
I don't trust these people.
For 3.5 years, 4 years, they've lied to us anyway. Lied to us about ratings, spinned it, right? Came out with and attacked fans in articles, right? Producers coming out and saying they'll do whatever the hell they want when they're in charge of the show, that it's not a democracy. Well, they can go and screw off now. The gloves are off. Jodie is gone now. Chris Chibnall's exposed. Let's take the man down. It's done. Let's finish it. We finish this now once and for all. That man and Piers Wenger need to step down. And we
hashtag Chibnall out.
We mustn't stop now. We must keep the pressure up. Get that hashtag out there. Do your videos. Do whatever you need to do to let BBC know that this is not over by the long stretch of the imagination, that Chris Chibnall and his writing team must also go. They have to go. If they don't go, there's no point of her going. You might as well leave her fucking there and let her do the Doctor for another 8 years. Why not? Because you still have the main man there. It doesn't matter who you bring in. They're going to be crap because, and I know people have said, well, they bring in a decent actor like what Peter Capaldi proved, even with the worst scripts, you can make them half decent. That's fine, fair enough, but I don't want half decent anymore. I've had mediocre Doctor Who for the last 3 years, right? I want decent Doctor Who now. The time for mediocre Doctor Who is over. I'm done. I want Doctor Who to be at the level that it should be, and if it's not at the level that it should be, I'm going to come out and complain about it. There's a standard set from the classic era to the new era. If you don't stick to that standard, you shouldn't be in the job, and he's not sticking to that standard. So you get rid of the man. It's as simple as that. He is responsible for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor not working. Open your eyes, J-Bots. Open your eyes, Jodie Whittaker fans. We need to work together to get this man out. And if we don't get him out, this show is not going to survive. You won't have a show to have you our politics on.
That's right.
Have you thought of that as well? You won't have a show to have you our politics on. We're not against politics on Doctor Who. We have said the way he brings it across is wrong. People have done it in the past and done it correctly. They can do it again. All they have to do is get rid of that man, get rid of his writing team, and bring someone in that knows what this show is.
And the BBC needs to be hands off.
Exactly.
They need to bring someone in that has a proven track record of successfully running a show without them trying to dictate what goes in the show. Leave it to somebody who's capable. It's not difficult. I mean, there are plenty of people I think who would want to do it. I mean, JFO in there says that maybe who wants to take it on. I think there would be a lot of people. I think the role of the Doctor is going to be difficult because I think that's a poisoned chalice. But if you've got a competent showrunner, someone who has a proven track record, a bunch of writers who also have a proven track record, and if the BBC promises to be hands off and allow them to do their job, then, who can say? Who can say?
I don't mind if they bring in some inexperienced writers, but mix it up. Bring that experience in as well. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not opposed to new ideas. I don't think any of us ever were. But keep it within the context of the show. There's a canon there, right? Whether people agree with it or not, or say it's all over the place or not, there's still some sort of canon there. You don't break it. You don't mess around with it. That's what
for me, I would say canon you must not touch is anything prior to 1989. I think anything after that you could play around with, add new elements, add to the canon, do what you want with it. But I think what was in the classic era should remain untouched and unfiddled
with the classic era as well. Remember that we cannot stop now. We're at the home stretch. If Jodie Whittaker is indeed gone, he's exposed now. And the papers are turning on him. And I've seen talk radio talking about him as well. People ringing in. They're blaming Chris Chibnall. BBC, please open your eyes for once in your lives. This is our chance now. You have one chance to save this show from going into the abyss. You have one chance, and this is it. Listen to the public. Listen to your fans. They're telling you what the problem is with this show. It's Chris Chibnall, and get rid of that Pierce Wenger tool as well, because he's facilitating that Chibnall fella.
He's poison, pure poison.
Get rid of him too. Right, I'm going to shut up now, and I know some of you said that you are loving me rant. I'm sorry, but I've kind of kept quiet for a while, but at the end of the day...
Look, let it out, bitch. Let it out.
I'm letting it out tonight. We're on the home stretch here. If she's gone, he needs to go, and we need to facilitate that. And we need to work together. Now, if you don't want to work with me, fine. But get that hashtag out there. Do something, right? Make BBC aware that you're annoyed at Chris Chibnall. Don't care how you do it, but do it in a way that's not in a negative way. You can tell. There's ways of doing things. Do the right way. Don't do it the wrong way. Just go and just talk to whoever. Emily Cook, whoever it is that's out there that represents Doctor Who. Let them know who you think is responsible if these rumors are true. Just say, if these rumors are true about Jodie Whittaker going, I think it's Chris Chibnall's fault, and list your reasons why. It's the only way you're going to get anywhere. This showrunner needs to go. If he doesn't go, this show is
toast.
Toast. Yeah, I won't use the word that I was going to use. Right. But I'm going to shut up now before I do.
So again, just a reminder, if you are coming on, if you are backstage, if you can let me know, then if you can send me a link to your social network, that would be great. Or if you could just put your camera on for Noel for like a couple of seconds so you can see you're there. Even if you don't want to use your camera, if you're on, don't need to worry about that. Just give us some evidence that you are who you say you are. That's all we're asking for. Please comply.
That's it. Thank you very much. Right, let's get to our guests because we do have loads waiting. So This is how we do it. So for anybody that's just joined and is new to this format, this is what happens. We give everybody about 10 or 15 minutes. So how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right. So we'll give everybody 15 minutes each. Right. So the guests that we have, we leave because that's what 15. That's a half an hour. Yeah. So what we'll do is 15 minutes each for each guest. That will bring it up to about 2.5 hours, and then that'll be it. I know I've talked a lot, but I had a lot to get off my chest. At the end of the day, none of this means anything Jodie Whittaker gone unless that clown has gone as well, along with his facilitator, which is Piers Wenger. So it's time to get them out. And if he is exposed in the papers of God, he's vulnerable right now. And this is it. It's time to end the Chibnall era, right? We and us fans, along with the other fans, because listen, whether we like it or not, BBC do listen to them. And if we can convince them, because it is true though, but if they look at it the way we're looking at it, they'll see that Chris Chibnall's the one that screwed Jodie Whittaker.
Nail that bitch to the proverbial tree.
That's it, and he deserves to be nailed to it, because I'm telling you now, he destroyed your Jodie Whittaker. No matter what I think of her, no matter what I thought of her in the role, she was your doctor, and he didn't do her justice. And you should be pissed about that, because if it was my doctor and he was doing that to my doctor, trust me, I would be rightly pissed. And I'll leave it at that. Right, Lee, I will see you later. I'll bring it on right at the end of the show, as we always do.
Yep.
But thanks for coming on and giving us your point of view as well. So we've got all our guests anyway, I think, but if one or two do pop in and we seem to be moving along nicely, we'll see where we get, right?
Indeed.
Okay, go on, I'll talk to you soon.
Will do. See you guys later.
Okay, let's do this, right? Stopwatch is going on. So I know everybody gets the right amount of time. Right. So 15 minutes each. And of course, we're going to start with ladies first on this channel. So I'll remove Lee there now. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Right. There we go. It's a little bit slow, but Kip Ellis gave me a £2 super chat. So I'll read that out first. She says, we want Lee as the doctor and Noel the showrunner. Listen, right, I know you're joking, right? And I do. People have said that to me over the 3 years that I've been doing this. But to be honest with you, right, even if if BBC had an open raffle for someone to my doctor, I wouldn't take it. And I'll tell you why. Even though I'm a fan, I know I wouldn't be able to do it justice. So I wouldn't do it. But I'd certainly get people in if I had the opportunity. I'd get people in that I think knew what they were doing. That's what I would do. And I'd facilitate them any way I could to make the show the best that it can be. And Lee is right about one thing, before I get into a big mad conversation again. But Lee is right about one thing. I lost the point. Oh my God. What was the point? Lee did say one thing. What was it? Oh shit. right, forget it. It'll pop into my head while someone's talking. Wait, you say, oh, that. Do you know that's never happened to me like that before? Because it has happened, but then I've remembered straight away. Holy man. I've homered me brain. Yes, I have. Don't. Right. Let's bring her on. Ladies first anyway. Yeah, Boomer. Yeah, Boomer is right. Right, it's the one and only Charlotte.
Hello.
No, it's not. Something
Hello, can you hear me?
Let's do that again, will we? Oh no, there she is. She's finally appeared.
Hello. Am I working? Because you've gone Cyberman. You're a bit crackly.
I don't know what's going on. Someone's saying the sound is breaking up for it. Isn't it weird? As soon as I let Lee go, all of a sudden, oh, there you are. Right, let's see if we can hear you.
Right, can you hear me?
Right. Am I still crackling now? Because I bet you I'm back to normal now. It always seems to happen when I bring on a guest. Are we all good? Let me know before we start.
I can hear you better. You're not crackling anymore.
Right. Right. Well, we'll assume that I'm all good. Right. No, we always hear Charlotte. It's Noel that's breaking up. Yeah, it is me. For some weird reason, internet is acting up weird. So, right, Charlotte, anyway, I've had a lot to say anyway, but you might want to talk about something completely different. So I'll let you just get straight into what would you like to talk about tonight?
Well, as I do think talking about Chibnall is a good thing, and that should be our focus, I'll talk about my massive issue with Chibnall.
Right, go for it.
And that is, I honestly don't think he understands the Doctor's character. And I think, even though I'll leave Jodie out of this because we're focusing on Chibnall, I do think her performance didn't help, but I think a lot of it was he's writing for her. I just couldn't see the Doctor. There were so many things she did that were like almost anti-Doctor, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. It was... I can remember in Series 11, there was quite a few moments where I was like, why are you having her do these actions? Like, one that really stood out to me was in the battle of the final episode, I can't think of the title, where Graham sees Tim Shaw for the first time. And he says, I'm going to kill him. And it's not with any enjoyment. It's not said in any relish. It is said from from grief. It's a man who's seen the alien who's responsible for his wife's death. His wife that, if you remember, he met in the cancer ward. So when they met, it was very highly emotional. They probably had a very strong connection because of that. So it's such a human response. And that's the weird thing. He wrote Graham well in that moment. He understood Graham very well. Because I think that's a very human thing to sort of say, well, I'm not going to do this because I'm enjoying it. It's sort of, I don't know if justice is the right word, but that's how we think sometimes as humans. And we sort of think not rationally. I think that was a very good, unrational moment. But what does the Doctor say? You're not going to travel with me.
Mm.
And I out loud, I won't say the word, but I was like, what are you doing, Doctor? Because if you think about what's one of the main things the Doctor knows better than anything because of their long life, they know grief. They know losing people. If that's one thing that defines this character, it is the fact that they've lost so much.
Yeah.
So that's why they carry on fighting. That's why they carry on adventures. That's why they don't stand still. Because if they stand too still, it buries them. And that's why the Doctor, they can come across harsh. And companions in multiple times have said, how can you just carry on? Why don't you think? So I love that moment with
Davros says it best actually in The Stolen Earth, where the Doctor and Rose, do you remember, and Jack and all's on the screen, and then Davros actually says it. That's why he never stands still. I'm showing you, I'm revealing the true Doctor. This is what he does. so many people died. I remember all those, and then they flash up all the dead faces that he lost, and you can see David Tennant's doctor's face. You're right. That's why he doesn't stand still. He does because he knows grief. He understands it, and the best thing for the doctor is for them to move on. Is they just move on basically to do something else to try and distract that. That's why the Doctor Time Lord never stands still, because let's be honest. If we all stay along with our thoughts, we do start thinking things, So it's the same with a character like that, especially when they lose people on a regular basis. Of course, it takes its toll. That's why, you're right, Chris. Look, Chris Chibnall has a lot of problems, but that is really one of the biggest main problems that he has. He doesn't understand how to write characters, Charlotte.
Well, no, that's my point, though. It's not that he doesn't understand characters. That's true, but he doesn't understand the Doctor. I honestly think Chibnall either has Michael destroyed. I don't know what he's done, because I think anybody who's watched this show for any length of time can understand the Doctor to some degree.
Well, but then can I ask you then, for someone that's supposed to be a fan, right, which we all seen that clip, that's what I was going to ask you then. If he is a fan, then how would he not? What? This is what puzzles me. And you are right. I agree with you 100%. I do not think he understands the Doctor, which is baffling to me, because he's a fan, right? He's a writer as well. He's gained experience. He's done Torchwood as well. He's written a few stories in different areas of Doctor Who. You think he'd have some sort of knowledge or some sort of idea of what the Doctor is about. I mean, Moffat used to explain it brilliantly. You think he'd just go to Moffat's old interviews and then he'd know what the Doctor is,
I don't know.
Is it clueless, or do you think do you know the way we see the Doctor one way? Do you think he probably sees the Doctor in a totally different way to us? Like the character meant something different to him. He sees it a different way to us, and that's why we've gotten his version.
I don't know, because it's like all the new showrunners have had this new, like the newer, New Who. They seem to all want to go in the backstory to different degrees. I think probably Russell was the least bad for that, even though we introduced the Time War. If you think about it, he basically did it in the background and it would bleed through in the character. So it wasn't like a massive, let's explain the Time War in exquisite, loads of detail. It was happened. You knew it was a big event.
Yeah.
I think Moffat was more guilty of it, but even he knew. And I just don't know. It comes across the way Chibnall speaks sometimes in interviews, that he either wanted to be the fan that knew all the backstory, and he was frustrated it was never given to him. So now he's filling out a backstory because that's what he wanted. Because you get some fans.
If they wanted to do the Andrew Cartmel thing, but he was basically told, no, you can't do that, and this is why he's doing what he's doing with the Timeless Children nonsense. He's coming up with his own, as you said, his own origins kind of story. Because we do know that there is one out, the Andrew Cartmel one. It wasn't supposed to be that. Andrew Cartmel has actually come out and said, no, it wasn't supposed to be that, but he kind of, he wrote it, but then when he was told that he couldn't do it, he understood why. This man just doesn't care about the understand, because there are lines you don't cross, and he's
but that's the thing. I think he cares about backstory. I don't know if that's what it is, because if you look at Russell, you can tell whenever he writes a character, and I think especially with the Doctor, he's interested in the character, in the relationships, in where the Doctor goes on a personal journey. That's his focus. I said, Moffat, I think he could be a bit more with the backstory, because he likes sort of complicated plots. And if you think about the Doctor as a character, he's an incredibly complex character because of his Gallifrey, regeneration. There's so many unique aspects. And I think Moffat likes that about the Doctor, that he's this sort of one-off unique character that you won't get in any other fiction. You just won't. But he knew there's a line, and I think with Chibnall, he comes across to me at times of, Do you know sometimes you get fans who would rather know everything on a Wikipedia page instead of being invested in the character? Do you get my drift a bit? Like, he wants to fill in the blanks. He wants a backstory. He wants an origin.
Right, so no, I agree, right? Because if you look at it, right, you got the latest special. That was a kind of an origin story, wasn't it? Even the first one, what was the first Dalek story? I forget the name of it. The
Resolution?
special. What was it? Resolution? Yeah. Resolution. That was a kind of an origin story because it went back to the past as well. You're right. He does have this thing of origins. I wouldn't be surprised now. I'm just going to throw this out there because if you look at the Sontaran costume design, some people have made comments that it's more of the classic style. Well, don't be surprised if he's doing a Sontaran origin story because he seems to have this thing. Charlotte is right. He seems to have this fascination with trying to overcomplicate things, and he does like to try and explain all these things. The problem with Chris Chibnall is this, right? Season 1 of Broadchurch, you're absolutely fantastic. You hit the nail on the head with it. But season 2 and 3, after that, you failed. You failed. You got lucky once. Now people will say that he wrote Torchwood. Okay, fair enough. He wrote Torchwood. Who's the executive producers? The people behind RTD's era, RTD himself and Julie Gardner, or Gardner, isn't it? Yeah, I got her second name mixed up, but you know who I'm talking about, right? She was responsible. He was responsible, right? But when he was writing something there, and if you actually watch it, it was more of a drama. It was less sci-fi in that, but it was a very good story. He told a very good story, and I will agree, it was a good story.
Yeah, but if you think, about Broadchurch, think about what I just said. That suits him because it's a detective show.
Yes.
There's an investigation.
Don't want that detective kind of crap in their franchise. That's what he's doing. It's kind of like the Doctor is investigating our own origin.
Yeah, he's doing a detective thing because that's what he can
write. Charlotte. That's why I always bring you on first, because every time you come on, you always set up the chat for the rest of the night, because you always bring up a point that we never think about. But that is spot on. She and listen, it all makes sense, man. It makes sense. Secret doctors and all of this other rubbish going on. She's investigating our origins.
Yep, and that's what's going to be series 13. Think about it. What was Ruth? It was basically, hiya, I'm here. I'm not going to tell you anything about me. I might pop up in another episode.
Yeah.
And everybody said, how come you didn't, everybody was saying, in the finale, Ruth will turn up and she'll explain where she is. We still don't know where she is in the placement.
By the way, actually, just because I was watching Az and Gary the other night, they made a point which actually went over me head at the time, right? Remember the scene I told you where I said she tricked the Daleks to go into the TARDIS? Yeah?
Mm.
Well, I forgot. It totally popped out of me head. But does everybody remember the Doctor's, what was that episode called? Hold on. The Doctor's wife. We found out
she killed a living child. She killed a living being.
So not only has she killed innocent life forms, now this is Chris Chibnall, by the way. I'm not blaming Jodie Whittaker. This is the kind of writing, right? So the people that will argue will say the show has moved on, it's a kid's show. Fine, with that logic, okay. Well, she's killed innocent life forms in the show, and then she actually destroyed a TARDIS in the latest festive special. Now, if the writings to be believed from the past, the TARDIS is actually alive, so she actually killed another life.
And also, I think I watched what I could of that. Didn't they also point out that's one of the last remnants of Gallifrey?
Yeah, and she had no problem in
destroyed the last bit of the
home. Now, I have to be honest, and I said I did like that part, and I still do, but the fact that I forgot, and that does bring it even more makes that scene even more you know, it's more important than what I thought, because if that is the last reference, she just basically destroyed the last piece of her own TARDIS. She's destroyed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, think about it.
Think
Think about it though. Think about the imagery. She's destroyed the last bit of Gallifrey, and now she's going to find out her new origin. It's a completely clean slate for her now.
It's you know, when you look at the writing, you know, you hear these people defend it, say it's a kids program now, and then you see things like that. And let's not forget as well, to get the doctor, or to get this doctor, or whatever you want to call Jodie Whittaker's character, remember that a woman found a child abandoned, brought that child back to her home planet, not tortured that child, that's a wrong word to use, but let's just say experimented on that child, killed that child. Now, by the way, I just want to say something, because we've brought this up before. We made a big deal out of it because it was a big deal. But I want to bring this point up. Remember, the first time she injected that child, she didn't know whether that child was going to live or die or going to regenerate. So, in fact, you know, the first time she injected that child, she didn't know. So she was committing attempted murder. So yeah, this is the origins of the Time Lords, by the way. Attempted murder and the experimentation of a child is now the origins of the Time Lords. Well done, yeah, Chris Chibnall. This is a kids program, by the way.
Yeah, but he can't register. You can tell with Chris, it comes across to me, this is the scene he wants. This is the scene he's written. He doesn't think beyond that. He doesn't think how it's going to be received. It's like, oh, what's it like? Like I said, there's been so many things in this era that you've thought, can you not think how that looks? That either the Doctor said it or done it, or another character is doing this. But like I said, I think he's just this thing of origin is just driving him for everything, and the fact that he can write mysteries, he can write detective, so he's basically turned a sci-fi show into what he can write.
Exactly. But you know what's startling about this? Do you remember also in the same episode, The Stolen Earth, where David Tennant's Doctor thinks that they're destroying his TARDIS, and look at the reaction on his face and how emotional he is, right? And in that other scene, now that you actually say it, but I still look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to change my opinion on the episode just because of that. But I will say now, looking at that scene, the way she was so blasé about like, it doesn't feel that, again, it's not the same character trait. They should have to say, she should show some emotion of destroyed, even if she had it and she had no choice, right? In that scene, if they made it like that, where she had no choice, or showed a bit of emotion after it would have made that scene. But again, I still like it. But again, it was brought to me attention. Don't forget, all the TARDIS is alive, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. So yeah, listen, we're about to run out of time. So what I'll do is I'll let you get your shout outs done. And but listen, again, every time you come on, you do make some great points. We'll see what everybody else has to say, if of course they want to talk about Doctor Who. But go ahead there and give your shout outs there, Charlotte.
Yeah, so on Tuesday I can say for definite me, Daniel and Dave are doing Beware, which we're very looking forward to going back to doing those. And it's an episode we all really loved. So if you want a nice, positive, lots of praise stream, you're going to get that on Tuesday. Tomorrow, oh, by the way, what's the classic episode? Just so I know to watch beforehand.
Well, do you know what? It's actually quite funny because it was William Hartnell's birthday today. And I think, as far as I know, we're on William Hartnell. But I don't know what episode. But I don't know what episode, what story we chose. So I suppose we might as well choose it now. Do you want to choose?
Oh no, I don't know.
Oh yeah, we did this to you the last time with Hartnell, and it wasn't fair, actually. Yeah, no, we won't do that to you. I'll tell you what. I will.
Problem saying we did choose. Problem, what was it then?
What did we choose?
Just so I know what I'm watching tomorrow before we stream.
Well, if there's anybody in the chat can remember before Christmas what we chose, because it was before Christmas, I think, when we chose it, let me know.
See, I don't know if this was chosen, but I've got a feeling Gunfighters was mentioned, but I don't know if we chose that.
Oh, hold on. It was Edge of Destruction, because I have the DVD there. Edge of Destruction. That's
right.
what
Yeah, I'll find that then tomorrow and watch it.
Yeah, I have the DVD there, so I'm actually good for a change this time. So yeah, I have that because I have the first few episodes on a box set, and it has Edge of Destruction there as well.
That's good. I now know what I'm doing. That's good. So anyway, Edge of Destruction, and then
and you know what? It's funny that it coincided. We came back at a right time actually because it would have been his birthday today if he was alive. But again, I threw something up because, you know, of course, I'm a fan. You know, I'm not saying that some fans forget, and that's fine, fair enough. But these aren't fans. I'm going to say it again. These people were never fans, right? And they never will be. They'll move on to the next franchise now. They'll hang around for a while because that's what they do. They like to go kicking and screaming. And then the new show will come along then that they won't like the politics or the ideology, and then they'll want to change that. Or they'll focus on something else. But listen, Charlotte, thanks for coming on. You made some great points again, as usual. And I will see you tomorrow. Now, the classic, right, so this is what's happening. New Who was on earlier. So
yeah,
I'm going to have New Who on at 5, right? And we hope to finish that. So it's 45 minutes an episode. So there'll be, but here's the thing. I think I have all the people. See, I'm confused now because I think there's too many for the classic panel. Charlotte is on it. Lee is on it. Alpha Omega is on it. Super John is on it. But I think there was a few more people that wanted to be on it. But the thing about it is that if I bring everybody on the classic panel, there's going to be nobody on the New Who panel. So if people would like to do the New Who panel, will you let me know? Because we've got our guests for the classic panel. That's the classic lineup there. Rabbi is obviously on the New Who panel. So if anybody wants to join Rabbi on the New Who panel, I think PD Rich was one that said New Who. I'm not sure. You're in the chat there. You could just remind me. So if it is, it'll be Rabbi, PD Rich, and whoever else wants to pop on to do New Who with those guys. That'll be the first one, and then Classic Who. Then we'll have Charlotte, as I said, and the rest of the gang for Classic Who. They're on the same day.
So if it's around about 6, I should be okay. But if not, I'll come on stream, mate, when I can. It's basically to do with eating with me and tea.
No. We'll start. Listen. You're fine because this is what's going to happen. We're going to do the New Who, as I said, start early, right? But we're taking a break. They're still two separate streams. So I'm just gonna, because it's New and Classic Who, because I have the Classic all in one and I have New Who all in one. So I want to keep it that way. They're two separate streams. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up the 2 links on the same day, and then just before we're finishing that one, then we'll put the link into the Classic one into the chat. But we won't be going for another half hour to give everybody a chance to have something to eat, to do whatever, and then we do Classic on the same day at the same time as we always do it, which is 7 o'clock.
I'm good then.
Yeah, that's not changing. The only one that's changing is New Who is going to be on before it instead. That's it. That's the only difference. Because
then I'll be here for 7 easy.
What?
I'll be here for 7 easy then.
No problem. So it'll be grand. You don't have to worry about it. And as you know, we always talk for a few minutes before we start anyway. So you have plenty of time. So yeah, do me a favor. Send me a message on Messenger or Twitter if you want to be part of the New Who panel, please, because it'd be easier to read the messages better there. Right, I better let Charlotte go. I can hear. Is that your dog in the background barking?
It probably is. She's downstairs, but you can probably hear it.
Yeah, we're probably annoying her. I am. So I'll go and say good night. Well, listen, enjoy your weekend. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. But enjoy your weekend anyway. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Yeah, I'll see everybody in this chat in about 5 minutes when I go back down.
Not a bother. See you later.
See ya.
Right, that was Charlotte. So let's get a move on, I suppose. Or we be here all night. We don't want to be here all night, do we, guys? No. Right. Let's bring Josh on. We've got Josh waiting, so we'll just get straight into it. Why? There we go. Again, I'm probably crackling because we're changing guests. So here's Josh. Hopefully he comes on.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Right. Do I sound okay now? I should sound okay now. The crackling. Oh no, someone has their headphones off. Be crackling. I should be okay. Right, Josh. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Nice to see you. Yeah, we're still in lockdown here in Toronto, and the more we lock down, the more the numbers seem to go up. So nothing makes sense anymore. But it's like the world of Doctor Who. Nothing seems to make sense. They say one thing, then they do another. Talk about the ultimate hypocrisy. Was it 3 years ago, Jodie coming out and saying, "Oh yes, the show it was only made for the white male gaze." So what are they going to do now? Let's set up a lesbian relationship between Yaz and the Doctor. Well, if that isn't for the white male gaze, I don't know what is.
I tell you, I don't know. Do you know what, though? The next couple of months in this fandom and around Doctor Who is going to be very interesting to see what comes out. What kind of rumors are out there and stuff. I mean, now that it's all settled down, are you surprised with it? If it is true, we still don't know. Obviously, BBC have not made a comment either way. They said they're not going to make a comment. But if true, are you surprised that this decision has been made? If Jodie, or in fact herself, has made this decision, are you surprised?
This isn't new news. This is news from 3 years ago. She's made it no secret that she's been talking to David Tennant and asked how long you did it. Oh, you did it for 3. Okay, I guess I'll do it for 3. I'll punch my clock. I'll put in my time. I'll do my 3 and I'll get out. She didn't need all 3 years to ruin it. I think she only needed 1 or even a half. And this is the BBC. They love to control their information.
Yeah.
Especially Chibnall. Even if it's true, it's going to come out months later so that, we can now confirm what's going to be was once rumored that Jodie is quitting, which, see, are you one of the people, Noel, who have canceled their BBC license?
I don't live in the UK, so thankfully I don't have to pay BBC any money, but I do pay when I say I do pay a license fee, I have to renew the license, the license fee thing, whatever you call it. But I don't give money to the UK, so that's kind of good. But still, TV licenses are archaic anyway. Don't think any country should have a TV license now, to be quite honest with you. I think it's archaic. As I said, it was a thing that was probably necessary back in the day, but it certainly isn't now with all the fees that you're paying for streaming services and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you're willing to pay for all these streaming services, which a lot of people do seem to be willing to do, well then, a TV license should no longer exist anyway, because if you go and give up your terrestrial TV anyway, or your satellite TV, and you stream everything anyway, you don't have to pay a TV license. So I think we're at that stage anyway. I think streaming is the future. And I think the TV license needs to go. It does. But if BBC do lose that, that's another blow for them, Josh. I mean, they do make a lot of money from it.
There's a reason I was asking. I mean, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I canceled a newspaper subscription I had because I noticed they were going more and more to the left and they didn't speak to me at all. But when I did cancel on the phone, one of the things was that they asked me, why are you canceling? And I told them. So I think it's important for those in the UK, and hopefully all of you on the chat are listening and take heed. Yeah, I don't know how it works in terms of if they ask you for a reason, but if they do, say whether you're calling in to cancel or writing in, say, oh, it's because of what you did to Doctor Who, then they will start paying attention. If that's an option that is there, use it. Go ahead and let the people know. I used to. It's like 30 years ago in the 90s. Coca-Cola made a new Coke, and everybody hated it. And it wasn't long before they reversed it.
But you know what, though? Like back in the day, there's conspiracy theories, and there is a conspiracy theory that's been floating about Doctor Who as well. But I'll get to that in a minute. But there was a conspiracy theory years ago that Coke did that deliberately, that it was a deliberate ploy, because yes, they did change the and by the way, the newer recipe was better than the classic, but because the classic was ingrained in American society, which it was, if you ever actually watch videos on the history of Coke, they're ingrained in American society since it's been conceived. Like soldiers and all, when they were on the front line, were drinking Coca-Cola would send them free Coke. So there was war posters and all with Coca-Cola being branded on these posters. So it lived in America. But the thing with Doctor Who is, a lot of people are saying, and it's been said over the last 3 years since Jodie's been cast, there's always been speculation and this conspiracy theory that the reason why BBC went with a female doctor now is they can do it, get it done and over with, and they'll never have to do it again, because you know, if it fails, it fails as far as they're concerned. Then they've tried it, then nobody can come back at the BBC and say, well, where's a female doctor? They can come back with, well, we tried it, it didn't work, the ratings prove it, and then these people wouldn't have a leg to stand on. But I don't know. It's without Chris Chibnall going, Josh, though, this is not all Jodie Whittaker's fault, and we have to stress that. But Chris Chibnall here, it looks like, now again, I made a point here, don't know what you think, but I was saying, you know, maybe the reason why this news has leaked now is they're trying to distract people, because maybe Chris Chibnall is leaving too, because Jodie Whittaker did say, and we have to bring this up, that she'd only leave if Chris Chibnall was leaving. So I'll ask you this question: what has changed between their friendship that she's decided to leave, if she has indeed left and he's staying? Or is it that they've leaked this news so they can distract us, and Chris Chibnall is actually, in fact, going to leave with her? What do you think?
Well, I'm not really one to comment on speculation. I hope they both leave. But the one thing that everyone is forgetting, and it is really scary, she's the devil we know. Who's next in line could be 10 times worse. They could go super woke. They could go. I'm with Gary on this one from Nerdrotic. I think the damage is done. It's dead. It's in the water. It's almost irrelevant what happens. But my guess, I'd love to see a guy like Eddie Redmayne get it, but I think we'll get a guy like Eddie Izzard, because he does all the boxes now.
Nah, that's silly. That's silly. No, listen. Yeah, BBC, I will say this: BBC have been pandering for the last few years, but they're under no illusions that this hasn't worked. Look, they're not stupid. Well, they have been for 3.5, 4 years, I'll agree. They were stupid. But if she's decided to leave now of her own accord, I tell you deep down they're probably relieved. I do not believe for 1 second that they'd actually cast someone like that. I actually believe, and I'm telling you this now, we spoke about it on this channel, and again, it'll all come out. I believe they will cast a traditional doctor. I don't think they'll go back to another woman doctor. I don't think they will cast a so-called diversity casting, because they know they can't this time, Josh. I do truly believe. And you know what? As for Doctor Who being dead in the water, right now I'll agree with you. It is dead in the water. But remember, this show has a knack of survival. It always has a knack for survival. That's why we've got 50 odd years of history. It has a knack of survival. This can rise from the ashes. This can soar again. It can. It's like the burning phoenix. It can rise from the ashes, spread its wings, and fly again. This show can be brought back to some form of normality if BBC truly wish to do so. Now, we'll find out, Josh. Look, at Gary's probably spot on. It'd probably be no recovery for this. But I have to believe as a fan that there's a little spark of hope there. And with her gone, I think that is that little bit of spark. I think that what will ignite it even further is if Chris Chibnall is gone. I think that will get fans really excited. And I think a lot of people will be surprised when Chris Chibnall, when he does go, how much relief there will be in this fandom and how much celebration there will be in this fandom. They know what the problem is with this show. It's Chris Chibnall. Jodie Whittaker has probably made it easier and left them exposed. Maybe their relationship, their friendship has broken down and she's left and she knows he'll be exposed. And this is her final revenge. And I wouldn't blame her because he screwed her over.
I haven't seen anywhere, I know you were mentioning it earlier, oh, people are starting to give Chibnall a hard time. I have yet to see that online. I've seen articles about rumors about Jodie leaving. One that says, oh, the fans are in Jodie's support, all three of them. And, you know, I don't know. I'm wondering it's not going to be over. Because they should have done this already. After one season, they had one good episode with high ratings because people joined in because of curiosity. And then it went downhill. They should have done what Michael Grade did at the end with Sylvester and just fire them. Michael Grade was the controller at the time in the 80s, and he fired Colin Baker from his role, and he ultimately took the show off the air a couple of years later after McCoy. And maybe that's what it needs. It needs a kind of kick in the pants to reinvent itself. But it's the only thing that's going to bring back a lot of fans is if it's going to retcon the retcon, which I don't think is going to happen, unfortunately. I'll do the writing. I'll even step in and become the doctor just because I love it. But I don't know. I don't know when to come up with a good solution.
Yeah, they won't. You're right about one thing. I'll agree with you with this. They'll never retcon this. That's the big issue here. They won't because they know there'll be some form of backlash from the supporters of this era, and it would be unfair. Let's be honest. I mean. Let's be honest, some people wish the movie wasn't made. Some people also believe that some of the late 80s stuff should never have seen the screen. So, I mean, there's always going to be regrets in the fandom. There's always going to be eras that they're not going to like. And this is going to be one of those. The damage has been done. I do agree, but there is still a chance for this show. I said if this was their opportunity, though, this whole situation that we're in was the time for them to make the changes. Now, if she has left, that's great. Okay, whoop woo, brilliant, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough without the man that has actually destroyed the show, has gone, and his boss who has facilitated him, which is Piers Wenger, then it's not going to improve, is it? It doesn't matter who they bring in. As I said, they could bring in a Tom Hanks or a Denzel Washington. It's not going to work.
No, you still need someone British too. There's something about the Doctor, the magic. You know it, and I know it.
Yeah,
and just some of the episodes back then, to see the difference between classic Who and New Who. If there was two stories I could use to illustrate that point, it would be Spearhead from Space, the third Doctor's first story, and Rose, the ninth Doctor, because they both featured a new Doctor, both featured the same enemy, the Autons, and you could see the classic Who is much grittier. It was written by Terrence Dicks, and it was like he was shot at, and it was just recovering from regeneration. It was very well done. Not to knock Rose in a bad way, but there were some campy moments from Rose when they made Mickey into an Auton and he looked kind of bumbling and she couldn't figure out he was fake until a cork bounced off his head. But it has its moments. I'm quite worried about where the show is, where it's already gone. They should already start firing firing Chibs and this. I mean, as someone mentioned, they had contracts. Those contracts shouldn't be renewed. I don't know what Chibnall's contract is. I don't know what he signed. I think she signed a 3-year contract, didn't she?
Well, yeah, when she originally was given the job, she would have signed a 3-year contract. That's the norm. That's
Right.
what they all get. They get a 3-year contract. Even Christopher Eccleston had received a 3-year contract until they had decided to actually part ways with him. So, I mean, look, you said it yourself. She's been talking to David Tennant. She's been talking to other previous doctors. They've said to her they've done 3 years and out. David Tennant was very vocal about that with her. So she even says it in interviews. That's what David Tennant told her, 3 years and get out. Even when they did the podcast together, he said it to her there. So, I mean, look, they're friends, listen, people do listen to their friends sometimes. And to be honest with you, 3 years I think is right. But remember, she's in the role. She's been cast 4 years ago. So she's actually being the doctor, not being revealed as the doctor for 4 years. And remember this as well, as I said, she's in her 30s. She's got a young kid. She has expressed her wish to have more kids. If she was to stay in Doctor Who for another 3-4 years, say, or stay on for another 2 or 3 series, we'll put it that way. How long is it going to take Chris Chibnall to produce those 3 series? It's not going to take 3 years. It's going to take 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years. You mean to tell me that she'd stay for another 6 years and actually in between that try pop out a couple of more kids while filming Doctor Who? It's not going to happen. It was logical from the beginning that she do the standard 3. Anything after that would have been a bonus to her. Now, if he had wrote them, produced the series every year, then there was a possibility that she do series 13. Possibility of even doing series 15.
Oh, good Lord, stop. It's a nightmare.
But that's the thing. It's not going to happen because it takes them so long to produce. I mean, even now there's rumors that we're going to get 6 episodes in the main series, and he's going to finish Whittaker's era off with 2 specials.
Oh, the less the better.
So less episodes again in the main series. Right now, I understand kind of this time because of the situation that we're in. But what were the excuses for the other 2 times? Series 12 and Series 11. There were no excuses. He's just a bad writer, hasn't got a clue. And I think he's making it up as he goes along because it surely seems like that. Because we've heard rumors of reshoots and this, that, and the other. Right? And when he doesn't get his own way, what does he do? He walks off set. Apparently, he did the same thing on Broadchurch and Law and Order UK. He has a habit of doing all of this. So this man is not capable, and that's it. Listen, I'll give you the last word, but we have run out of time. But I'll give you the last word, and then I'll tell you what to do. Do your little shout outs as well.
Right. Okay. Well, it's funny on the pregnancy thing. I'll tell you something that not a lot of people know. Wonder Woman. So Gal Gadot, when she was in the first movie, which was really good. And I think everyone should go see it. It was fantastic. Not the second one, but the first. She was actually at least 3 or 4 months pregnant. And what they did is she wore a green sash, like a green screen, and they did actually CGI in her abs. So so she's pregnant. There's ways to get around it. But I think there's some, like as bad as Doctor Who is, I think it can and possibly will get worse. I think they're going to change the exterior of the TARDIS for those who might be offended by police and stuff. So I just think the snowball has started rolling and it's going to continue downhill. I've always had an expression of mine that I've used in life generally, that to me, it's important that the highs are higher than the lows are low. And for classic Who, there were some doozies and some new ones. There's some ups and downs, but now the lows are lower than the highs are high, and that's a problem. That's the point of no return, I'm afraid. I love to wax and wane nostalgic with you. I know at the beginning you were quite angry, but that is passion. That is true passion that you have for the series that we all loved.
Yeah.
And you don't have to apologize for that. So I'm with you on that one, 100%, Noel. So that's why I come on. It's a community. We understand each other, and that's what this is about.
Yeah, exactly.
I even brought before, just to show you how far it goes back. I think this is about almost 40 plus years. This is the Doctor Who annual 1978, and
wow.
it's by the man himself, Tom Baker. There it is.
Wow. Look after that. Look after that.
That's a prized possession. I should put that in a vault.
You should. Keep that locked away. Keep that locked away. Keep it away from greasy hands.
We need more like them. So it's up to people like us to keep the dream alive. For those who can, cancel their license. If they're asked why, tell them because of what you did to Doctor Who. Once the money becomes tied to it, it becomes a business. Once it does, they will be forced to listen to the fans. Because the ones who are politically correct, oh yeah, we think it should be Jodie, we should ask them what their favorite episode is. They don't have one because they don't watch the show. Ask them what their favorite merchandise is. They won't have one because they don't buy it. We do. So if you want to piss us off, goodbye.
That's it. As Anne Robinson would say, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Right, Josh, do your shout outs there, pal.
Okay.
I've got I've got another 4 guests to bring on. We'll be here all night, but I have to bring them all on because they've been waiting.
All right, I'll wrap it up quickly. Just shout out to the regulars, yourself. For those of you not subscribed to Noel, please do. It's extremely nice and welcoming. Gary at Neurotic, and those are the ones that are coming to mind. Bolstrek, of course. And, he always has a cup of very strong coffee before he does his reviews. But Bolstrek's good. It's well-intentioned as well. And those are the ones that come to mind. If I think of others, I will present them. But it's been a pleasure as always, Noel.
No problem. Listen, been a pleasure having you on. So thanks very much for popping on. I really appreciate it.
Sure. No worries. Always a pleasure. We'll do this again soon, shortly.
Not a bother. I'll talk to you soon, Josh. Have a good one. Right. And that was Josh, everybody. Now, I'm just trying to figure out who's next. I think it's Raymond already. If it's Raymond, nod your head there, Raymond. I think it is you next, isn't it? I think you were next on the list. I know someone popped out, so I don't know. So it goes with weird orders. I think it was Raymond. Hold on, I'll check the chat. Because I know you're in the chat, private chat. Let's see. Let's see. So if one of you guys could tell me who was next. We got the third Doctor waiting as well. Welcome. I think it was Raymond. Was it you, Raymond? Just not there if it was you. You next. He's not. He's shrugging his shoulders. He doesn't know. I think it was Raymond. I think it was Babbitt next. And then we got the third Doctor. I think it's John. I don't know if that's the order. But is everybody happy with that? I can see is so. If he's happy with that, everybody's happy with that. That's fine. Fantastic. Right. Wow. Another boomer moment. I am getting old. 2021 is really taking its toll. I'm only messing. It's been okay actually for me. Even though the world's lost its shit, but it's been pretty good for me and Cheryl. You know, I've gone crackly again. Yeah, I always go crackly before I bring on a guest. But let's bring him on because he has been waiting. It's Raymond O'Reilly.
Hello, Noel. How are you doing?
Seconds to come in.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Ray.
Me?
I just want to. I can.
I can't hear you. It's not fading back on me anyway, so that's grand. How are things?
I'm not too bad, Ray. I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm fine. very strange week.
Yes, yes, yeah,
To say the least. But I think it's been into this for the last 10 months. I honestly do. I particularly what's been happening through the Comic Cons and all that, and particularly what Matt Smith. It's gonna hurt. It must hurt an actor that is taking on this iconic role,
yeah,
and for a previous Doctor to turn around and say, his first side swipe was, "What do you miss about Doctor Who?" And he said Christmas, and that was at HBO, the HBO Max thing. And
yeah,
then when he'd done that virtual pub quiz thing, he turned around and says that he had the private conversation with Billy Piper, and turned around and said they've downgraded it. Now that's gotta hurt.
yeah. There has been a few
That's
little
gotta
digs. Yeah, Matt Smith has made a few little swipes.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah. Ray, are you aware
he's
of on Twitter that when the watch-alongs were happening, Moffat and RTD were part of them, that they were also taking little swipes. They were making their little comments and making their little videos. Did you see any of that?
See, I you know what? I don't think those two could talk really, because let's be honest, they brought him into the cabal. Well, particularly RTD.
Yeah.
And if RTD wanted to have a swipe, I mean, RTD doesn't really say much, but Moff does. Be quite. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if RTD, wanted to take the piss, he could have turned around and said, "Fuck off." Excuse my French. I was going to say it. You're not using Jack Harkness. That's his baby. Jack Harkness was his creation. If RTD didn't want that to happen, that was the case. So I think there's a bit of game playing going on.
Yeah, I said
that
I did. I said there was a bit of gameplay. Fans needed to kind of wise up at first, because I was saying there was game playing going on, because you are right. You make a valid point there, actually, and I'm surprised that it wasn't brought up before. But Captain Jack is his creation. But
absolutely,
yeah, that's quite up. Moffat with the Weeping Angels. We know the Weeping Angels are coming up. They're his creation. Where's Moffat giving out, like saying, "I don't want Chibnall to use these" if they're so concerned about Doctor Who? I'm not saying they aren't, but if they were using, if it was me, right, and I know if it was Ray, because this is the way we're thinking. So imagine if they were our characters, right? The first thing I would do is, being a showrunner like that ruining the show, I'd be like, "No, you're not using my character. Sorry, mate. Don't care if friends with the guy."
Exactly.
Sorry, that's the way it is.
Exactly. I mean, and I honestly think they are trying to create. Here's another thing, right? There was this year. What I've noticed, and I think all the past casts, particularly of the reboot era, have been talking to each other. I honestly do. I think Karen Gillan and Arthur Duvall and Billy Piper and Johnny Coleman and Catherine Tate have been talking to each other. I'm convinced, and the doctors have been talking. The previous doctors have been talking to each other. Now, I don't think Capaldi will get involved because he's gone on to a different thing entirely. But the likes of Billy Piper, she's still involved. She's more or less still involved, because the last thing she done was a thing called I Hate Susie. And it actually was done by Judy Gardner. So they've still got vested interests there. And I honestly believe that they're trying to make it. They're trying to reach out to other members of fandoms and just saying, yeah, this is shit. And it's coming across that way. And then with Matt Smith coming in, the youngest guy turning around and saying, I miss Christmas, and they've
downgraded it. Yeah, that was some comment I have to say.
That's gotta hurt. That hurt the girl. And I actually thought when he said it, I laughed. You'd laugh, and then you think, oh fucking hell, that's a person's feelings.
Yeah,
You know,
they obviously the other side tried to make it out. He was only having a joke, but even if that was,
I don't think so.
And it's out there, like he knows what he's doing. They're very clever, right?
I don't think so. I think you know. And there was one thing I really have kind of symbolistically come up with my own opinion. Chibs does not like the 8th, 9th, and 10th season, right? And Capaldi, quite quiet, not saying anything, being reserved, being the true gentleman that he is. And all you see now is Jenna Coleman, left, right, and centre. You know, fan casts, the whole lot, where she should be promoting her own stuff, particularly with the Serpent and how that's huge at the moment. And she's actually turning up, letting people know that she's still there. It's got to get on that. It's really got to get on that Wix. It really has. And this is all gameplay. Steve Moffat, I think Steve Moffat and Gattis is behind this. I really do.
What, behind trying to get them?
Oh yeah. I like, and it's not what they're doing. It's how they're saying it. It's been said. So I mean, the last 10 months, things have been said, and people have come in and give their opinions. And I even think even Neil Gaiman has made a play in some way. I should have written for Capaldi. That's what Neil Gaiman said. You know, so I think there's a lot of flip flopping going on at the moment at the BBC. But as I said on the chat earlier on,
both sides. Would you say that they're playing both sides then, because they don't want to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. Don't forget, they still want to work for the BBC eventually. Yeah, they are racist. They are racist. But they do want to work for the BBC. They still want to go in there and have millions of pounds spent on what they're going to do next. I mean, I believe he wants to rehash the idea of doing Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah,
that was a failure. That was a complete when ITV done it, it was a complete and utter failure because it was going nowhere. But he wants to rehash the idea with that, and that'd be interesting. But I think they're playing both sides. I honestly do. But at the same time, he's getting back to Chibnall. He is completely. He doesn't like the program. He doesn't like what he's doing. He doesn't like the show. Regardless what he done last week, it was a good episode to watch. I enjoyed it, but it just came way too late.
Yeah,
way too late.
3 years too late to people's size.
I think somebody said that she should have leaving after that. Should have been. They should have been brought in after the 3rd episode. BBC should have done something after the 3rd episode. I mean, he even had a side swipe, which I won't bring up what he done on how it was written, but it was the Daleks defending London again. We'll say, like the Daleks defending Britain, which that was a Moffat idea, particularly during the Blitz and the Second World War. and they included their national monuments. That was a sideswipe, a political sideswipe, but that's what Moffat do, that's what Chib's done. I mean, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. He doesn't need to do stuff like that. He can write good stuff, but with this show, he doesn't like it. He doesn't. I'm convinced he doesn't like the show, regardless
But
what
he's
people.
not coming across as a fan right now, though, is he? He's not. He's not
Well,
writing. Even
I mean,
fans come up with it. Wow.
he's contradicted himself on every turn. He okay. He was a teenager when he said it. The show when Jonathan Nathan Turner was running it. I think it was Jonathan Nathan Turner was running it. He turned around and he said, "Silly monsters and people run corridors." Any episode, even for Russell T Davies, people were running down corridors that he wrote. Silly Monsters, Petang, and Tim Shaw, which was a blatant rip-off of The Predator, Tim Shaw. Petang was, I think, came from Ben 10. For Christ's sakes, you just, there's plagiarism and there's, and there's absolute stupidity. That falls in between that, like it's, I've become so laughably involved because of it, because it is actually getting to a point where it's becoming really stupid, and you're kind of sitting there like, kind of, what's next? Are they going to retcon Jack Harkness as a heterosexual man now? Just to change the opinion of everything. It's stupid. You can't. I mean, it's really. I don't know what he does. I think it's like the mind is. It's like what the mind is. He's sitting down to write something, and his mind is thinking something, and he's writing something totally different. Because it's not what he would consider as proper Who, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not proper. It's not proper Who. Hey, Ted. It's not proper Who. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the people that you actually had a go at were Pip and Jane Baker about their writing, saying predictable.
Oh, what's a Pip and Jane? All right.
Yeah, and
right.
And then, but there is a good video on YouTube done by someone.
Oh, yeah.
They put a little interview up, and then they show clips of his stories, and it's basically, as you said, running down corridors, silly monsters, countdowns, you name it. Right? Does everything. Does everything that he criticized them for. Now, he has said that he's embarrassed by that video, and he has said that he regrets that video, but the only reason why he's saying that is he's such a limited writer, and now he has to do the same. Now he has to come out with excuses.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, you cannot turn around and have document evidence like that, and then you have to come out immediately and completely debunk that, and not debunk it, but actually disown it. Yeah. You have to. But he hasn't. He hasn't. Listen, now I've got to go, mate, because I'm actually in a rush at the moment. I've got to do some stuff. Okay, mate.
Not a bother. Listen, you are.
I'll see you, mate. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Not a bother.
Now just keep the faith, and we'll get back soon.
Not a bother. See you later.
All right. See you then. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Right. Well, that was Ray. So thanks for coming on, Ray. Right, let's do this. Let's move swiftly along, because we've got 1, 2, 3 guests. 2 after this one that I'll bring on, and then we're done for the night. We're 2 hours in. Wow, this has been great so far. I have to be honest. I hope you are enjoying it in the chat. But let's bring on our next guest, because they've been waiting. Right, so let's hope I'm saying this right. So it's Babbitt Bombshell.
Thank you so
Said it
much.
right,
How
'cause
are
that's a
you?
great name.
It's
Oh
good
my
to see you.
God! Look at that background. That is absolutely amazing. How are you?
Well, you know, and it's real. It's not even a. It's my real house. Anyway, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Well, it's nice to have you on. I have to say, that background is brilliant. I love it. Obviously, you've heard how it works. You know the format. Is there anything in particular you'd like to talk about?
Well, the thing that's interesting is because of the place that I come to this from. There's a lot of people's arguments that attack people who criticize the show that I can just take apart their arguments. All right. So I'd like to take some time to speak directly to those people who are like the social justice warrior people who have who have a problem with anybody who criticizes the show, and just basically like kind of deconstruct some of the stuff and say how we got here. You know, how did this British cultural icon get deconstructed by people whose egos and agendas overpowered what their actual functioning job is, which is to create entertainment for the whole of the British public. See, and that's what got lost in all of this. So what happened is you had the 50th anniversary happen. Okay, so as Chibnall's coming in, he knows that there's this incredible publicity rush that the show got when they reached back into the past of the show. So there's that cooking. There's now the demographics for the failing BBC that tells them that the people who keep paying their licenses are the people with little kids because they use the BBC as an electronic babysitter. So now the BBC is going, okay, we want to make Doctor Who healthy viewing for children as part of a healthy breakfast. So now Doctor Who has got to be dumbed down for kids. It's got to reach back into the past. And because Jodie's a woman, it's got to be, we've got to get as much of that kind of sensationalist, topical publicity as we can. So all of these different kinds of publicities created a mindset in the creation of the show that told them that they have to make it dumber, preachier, and it's got to be good for kids. You know, it's like all of this kind of stuff got in the way of telling good stories. You know what I'm saying? And in fairness to Jodie, okay, I'm not one of those people that says a female doctor couldn't have worked. Okay, I don't believe that for a second. I think it's all about the writing of a female doctor that's the problem here, and what she was offered. But because honest to God, the Doctor, because it's science fiction, the Doctor could transform into a goldfish and be carried around by a 3-year-old boy as a companion. And if it's written well and it's engaging viewing and it leads somewhere, it would still be Doctor Who. What we have right now is no longer Doctor Who because it's an issue-driven TV. It is the magic school bus, as other commenters have said. But in fairness to Jodie, she's not a fan of Doctor Who. So she got cast in this. And what we as fans don't realize is there's no reason why an actress would think that she had carte blanche to create whatever kind of doctor she wanted. That's a very foreign concept for an actor, is that you mean I can totally be anybody that I want? If you're not an actor who's used to creating a character outside of the script in your head and then kerplunking it in, what she probably, and you can hear it in Jodie's interviews, what she did was they probably sent her home with a box of Tom Baker. She knows David Tennant, and she saw David Tennant's Doctor, and she thought in her head, oh, well, that's the way old Doctor Who was. This is the way new Doctor Who is. David, I know how David does it. I can do what David did on the show. And that's why she's doing David Tennant. It's like a woman doing cosplay of David Tennant, because no sound director or showrunner said, no, you can do whatever the hell you want. And then the writers will meet you. That's a very different kind of concept for an actress who's not a fan of the show. You know what I mean? So I can see how she lost her way. I can see how we got this kind of very vanilla. They don't write for her the way that they write for River Song or for Missy, and they're both way more doctor-like than Jodie's doctor could ever think of being. Way more doctor-like, but it's because Jodie has got to be very vanilla, a paragon of virtue who's at any given moment can give you a TED talk at the end of the show to wrap things up so we all can go, oh, wasn't that nice? Oh, didn't we all learn something? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of how it's gotten where it is. And it isn't going to go back. It isn't going to get better anytime soon. Like Jodie leaving is not going to fix the underlying issues of the show.
Well, I agree, 100%. I mean, you can tell by even looking at the way she portrays the Doctor. She is doing a David Tennant, Matt Smith hybrid, I would say. And, you know, it is up to the showrunner. After all, he's the one that's looking after the show. It's his job to direct his actress, give her advice. And in my opinion, I don't think he's given her much of any relevant advice, because you look at the way she plays it. Unfortunately, here's the thing, you're right, Jodie Whittaker isn't the problem here. The problem here is Chris Chibnall and his writing team. And 100%. They clearly don't, a lot of people said it on the panel tonight, he just clearly doesn't understand this character. And you think he would, being a fan, but this really doesn't understand it. And
that's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing about this is I think he knows the history of the show, but his ego is more powerful than his respect for the show's canon. You know, and the first time I realized this about his writing was in that what the hell was the name of that episode with dinosaurs on a spaceship?
Yeah.
Okay, that craptastic episode. Okay, so and I immediately and suddenly I'm like, okay, this guy knows the history of the show, but suddenly we have all of these companions that supposedly the Doctor has traveled with, and I'm just like, wow, this guy has no respect for the history of the show, because to viewers who care and have watched the entire show since Hartnell, to be totally told, you know what, you don't know anything, and there's totally companions that the Doctor has had that you don't know, and, you know, screw you for bothering to pay attention. Screw you for having, you know, that investment in the show to follow its chronology. That's really what it is when they insert these things. And the Timeless Child is the same thing, but on a bigger scale, much bigger scale.
Yeah, and he's messing that up royally as well. I mean, it is astonishing that this guy. Listen, do you know what he reminds me of, Chris Chibnall? Believe it or not. Do you know the fans today that claim to be fans, that claim to watch the show and stuff like that? That's what he comes across to me back in the day. He was an early SJW, right? He was one of them. He was there. He happened to get himself into a high position within the fandom and then start spouting his nonsense, right? Yeah. And that's exactly what we have today in the fandom. But he was the first SJW. If you look at that video, look at the way he talks, his arrogance. He's like those fans today. He represents those fans. So, I mean, he's an imitator. I mean, they've imitated
but
him.
See, but I understand how he's that way, because in order to function in the BBC and climb the ladder in the BBC, it's a very much of a funnel mentality.
Yeah.
It's very much. So that's how so even if he leaves, trust me, it's like playing whack-a-mole at the BBC. There's going to be like 6 other people who are motivated by that same kind of stuff before. And I don't mind if the show is teaching a moral lesson, but you got to do it well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like Doctor Who did lots of stuff, but they set it in outer space and it was artistic. And you walked away thinking about it and going, wow, that's deep, rather than going, oh, that's what I was just told.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how the audience feels after that. It's like, okay, well,
it's like, for example, a show that I would say does it in the right way would be a show like The Orville. They did highlight they highlighted some sensitive topics in that show, especially season 2 with the whole gender swapping stuff. And they did it with sensitivity.
And
But
it's artful. And
they showed both sides of the argument. This is where we have the problem, you see. If you're just inserting one type of politic or one way of thinking, it doesn't work. You have to give you have to give the other side. You have to give a balanced view. That's how you get your audience committed, because they're saying, okay, you're leaving it to your audience to make up their mind. You're not telling the audience, as you said, you're not preaching to your audience. That's not your job. There's ways of informing your audience without actually putting it right in your face. I mean, when Jodie Whittaker was talking about plastics and the damage of global warming, or what, not global warming, climate change it's called now, right? She's nearly looking at the bleeding camera. She's preaching to us all.
It's a TED Talk. There are many little TED Talks that she gives now. It's crazy. But, here's the great news about this, okay? As much like the Doctor being half human in the TV movie, this canon, this recant, this retro thing, this thing he did in The Timeless Child, even if they don't mention it again, it is going to be undone, and the BBC will unravel it. Whether they take it on dead on or they just ignore it into oblivion, like the Valeyard or like the Doctor being half human, I think they'll probably try to ignore it into oblivion, and the fans, through force of enough creative writers, will re-retcon this. And the reason why I believe that is because if the BBC knew that The Timeless Child would ruin the numerological chronology of the Doctors, with which all of their merchandising of everything Doctor Who is based, this never would have happened. Because Tom Baker isn't the 4th Doctor. William Hartnell's not the 4th Doctor. So you can't market them that way. You can't market like
they still do, and that's and you're right, you're spot on though, but they still do market them that way.
Right. And the force of the fact that they by matter of needing to be able to market them, that tells me that eventually, by force of the market, this retcon will be lost to Doctor Who history.
Well, do you know what? You do make a valid point about this era just disappearing into oblivion, and I'll tell you why. Because the people that support this, as I've said at the very start of this stream, when I went on my rant for a half an hour, 40 minutes, or whatever it was, but I meant every word. But these people aren't fans. That's the thing. This is why this won't be remembered. This is why this will disappear into oblivion. They won't retcon it yet. I don't think they're directly.
Oh, no. I think it'll have to be canceled. I think it'll have to be canceled and rested and rebooted entirely separate from the rest of
that. They might do that. That could be a possibility, and I don't think a lot of us would be opposed to that at this stage.
Right.
But this will disappear because these people aren't fans. He's right. And a lot of people say this, they don't buy the merchandise, right? They don't watch the full episode, right? What they do is, right, they're very clever, right? A lot of people do it out there, and it kind of annoys me because I actually watch a whole episode before I'll do a review. I don't believe I'm just watching parts that people are complaining about and then doing a review on those parts. I like to watch the whole lot. But that's what they do. They watch the people that are on their side. They have YouTube channels as well. Remember, they do reviews as well. So when they're talking about and defending it, they're only getting their information off the people that they've listened to. They're not actually watching the episode. So that's why this is why I believe it will disappear. That's why I don't think a retcon is necessary yet. They might rebuild. I think that is the logical step. But would they take that risk of rebuilding it again? Because if it didn't, because let's be honest, right? When it started back in 2005, it hit the ground running. Can they hit lightning again this time round? I don't think so. That's the difference this time. 2005 was the right time to bring it back.
It'll have to be an outside production. It'll have to be a joint production that's out of the hands of the BBC for Doctor Who to return to to any kind of a semblance to what we're used to Doctor Who being. But the good news is that that Doctor Who, people were worried about Doctor Who getting canceled. Doctor Who has reached critical velocity of mediocrity. Doctor Who is like Sherlock Holmes. It's like Tarzan. It's like any other part of British cultural iconography, the mythos of a culture. It's not going away. It may go away for a little while, but it'll immediately be resurrected in somebody's creative hands. So any fans who are just like, it's the true death of Doctor Who. No, don't worry about it. Doctor Who will survive this and come back. That's its strength. That's the glamour and the magic of Doctor Who.
It always bounces back. That's what I said to to Josh earlier. You know, he thinks it's done, and I did think that way for a while. I have to be honest myself. But this show does have a knack. I mean, we wouldn't have 50 odd years of history if this show didn't have a knack. That's half a century. If this show can survive for half a century, it can survive this era. Trust me. If it can survive the Doctor Who movie, it can. If it can survive the late 80s, it can definitely survive this.
If it can survive Dimensions in Time as a 30th anniversary, it can survive anything. And to the fans who are like so entrenched in fighting with each other right now and hating on each other and throwing rocks at each other, listen, man, it's okay. In the same way that it's okay with me that you don't like Patrick Troughton's second season, it should be okay with you that I don't like where the show is at right now. Because the great thing about being a Doctor Who fan and having a show with a 50-year history is there's so much of it, this thing that you love. Yeah. So hating each other and arguing with each other and calling each other ists and phobes and all this nonsense is a waste of fan timedom. So start sharing the things that we love about Doctor Who, and don't hate on each other for, just because I don't like something that's going on doesn't mean that a whole lot of the political social stuff issues that they're hiding behind in the writer's room as camouflage, because that's what this is. When they're all of these shows that are so written as social issues, that's because that's cultural review camouflage. They don't want anybody to be able to make a critical review of Rosa Parks. How do you crap on Rosa Parks? You know what I mean? So they know that. So we'll get more of that.
No, you're right. You're spot on. Anyway. I mean, it's look, as I said again. Doctor Who survives, and it will survive this, I think. But Chris Chibnall needs to go as well.
Yeah, he needs to go.
And if he does, then we can look to the future with some hope. But again, BBC is an organisation, we know what they're like. But listen, we have ran out of time, and it's been absolutely
wonderful talking with you.
But listen, if you want to shout out your social medias and you have a YouTube channel, I'm assuming. If you have a YouTube channel, shout it out as well.
I'm on YouTube here. I really don't have anything to plug specifically, but I will say that if you are a second Doctor fan, I do a part in Christopher Thompson's kind of missing audios. I play the pivotal role of Dorton, commander of Section 9, in Enemy of the Universe, which is a sequel to the Salamander story from the Second Doctor's. So seek out Christopher Thompson's. He does the Second Doctor's voice for those that don't know, and is genius at it. But yeah, so I don't really have anything to plug other than just like more Doctor Who. Enjoy it, and don't hate on each other for nothing. You know what I mean? Hate on the show. Don't hate on each other. If you don't like something about the show, speak up about it, because that's how it changes, man.
That's it. Great words, man. Listen, thanks for coming on. Lee has actually, problem being, I should say, has put your channel in the chat there. Folks, go and subscribe. Check out the channel. Thanks very much for coming on. And listen, we do this every Friday, so if you'd like to pop on again next week, pop in.
For sure. I'd love to.
Okay, good night. You have a good one.
You too, buddy. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye. That was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? That was Baba there. Brilliant. His channel is obviously in the chat there. Check it out, guys. And some great words at the end there. He's right. all this hating on each other really does need to stop. That's why I just block people now. I'm just done. There's no point, you know. At the end of the day, you know, we should have all caught on 3 years ago. This era was always going to end at some stage. We should have just had that way of thinking for 3 years. But it has been hard watching it slowly crumble in front of our eyes. I suppose we have to speak up. But all this hating nonsense has to stop. It doesn't do anybody the world of good. But we got a super chat by Patrick, $5 Australian dollar super chat. He says, I just signed a change.org petition to fire Chris Chibnall. I don't know how much it'll actually work, but if you just want to try and check out that petition and sign it. Patrick, in the chat there, if you don't mind, just let me know how many have actually signed it so far. It'd be actually interesting to see how many have signed it. See, again, I do believe right now that this fandom doesn't care, because when Jodie Whittaker, when the mirror broke it, yeah, the other fans on the other side reacted, obviously, but on this side, it was kind of, okay. There was no really reactions, you know what I mean? So, because Chris Chibnall's not gone, so they're just, you know, nobody wants to celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate yet anyway, until he's gone. Right, but let me know in the chat if you can, Patrick, how many people have actually signed that petition so far, and we'll see what if we'll see how many has signed it before we decide what we do. Because if it has a lot of people that have signed it, get behind it. If it doesn't, there's no point, because, you know, as I said, a decision is being made. If a decision is being made, and we'll just have to wait and see. Right, let's bring him on, because he's been waiting for ages. So I see Lex the Penguin Soldier is there as well. But I did say before they came in that these two lads here, John and Ian, were the last two. But we'll see how we go. We're 2.5 hours. I see we'll be over the 3 hour mark. But I'm going to bring on the third doctor now. Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
I know, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm not crackling or cracking or you just can hear me fine.
No,
yeah.
Your crackly stuff has stopped now. Yeah.
Okay. Grand. Well, obviously, I don't know if you're going to go down the same route, and I should have just called this a Chris Chibnall special, but I don't know what you want to actually bring up, so I'll shut up and I'll just let you talk. So what would you like to bring up this week?
Well, I mean, it is along similar lines, to be quite honest, because I didn't intend to jump on at first. I was quite happy just to listen and enjoy it, and then it was more and more about Chibnall. I could feel myself getting more and more cross. Not because I disagree, just because he annoys the bloody hell out of me. He's been, you know, like a cancer on Doctor Who, really. He's killing it. You would think, if you were looking at it from the outside, you would think that he'd been given a specific job, go in and trash it. Because the BBC maybe wanted it out of the way, you know, like it was in the late 80s. But I don't know. It just doesn't strike me as anybody who knows what he's doing properly, or knows the character, or knows the show. I know other people referred to when he was on telly in his teens, seeing off JNT and Pip and Dame Baker. I mean, he just looked such a snotty git in his spotty face and his yellow tie, you know. It's etched in my head, you know. And he was so rude and smug and smarmy, and, you know, like it's been mentioned, running up and down corridors and silly monsters. And then he does the pating and has them running around corridors. It's almost do as I say, not do as I do. And I just don't like him. I think he's ruined the show, and I only think it can come back to any semblance of prominence if it has a rest. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because, you know, I took part in the letter writing campaigns to the BBC in the 80s. Yeah, letter writing, you know, email, but when they put it on hiatus for 18 months. But now I'm thinking it needs taking off screen, because I think it needs time for that toxicity to go away. I think Jodie Whittaker and Chibnall has made it a toxic brand. I can't see any self-respecting actor wanting to take it on following that. I do feel it needs retconning. I personally don't think it's I don't think it's a role for a woman. That's no disrespect to ladies. I just always have thought that women are more than capable of creating, building, and maintaining roles from scratch themselves. And I think it's more insulting to women to hand them invented and developed by a male actor for 50 plus years. I think it's quite offensive to suggest that women, in order to be successful, need to be handed a predominantly male role. I think they're more than capable. If you needed a female Time Lord, you could make Remind. I don't even think you needed to change the gender of the Master. And I know a lot of people like to see, but to be quite honest, I felt the same way as I do about the role of the Doctor. I don't like gender swapping Time Lord. We've had plenty of female Time Lords, really. Marna, obviously. There was a girl called Rodan in Invasion of Time. But and the Rani. Why not bring back the Rani? Why change the gender of the Master? Why just bring back the Rani? Great character, but they chose. It's like they choose to do things that they know will piss people off. It's like they're trying to bait the fandom all the time, and it's killing the goose, really, that lays that golden egg, because it's the real diehard fans that they're trying to stop, or that they're trying to piss off, that are the ones that buy the merchandise and everything else and keep that money coming in. And you, like you've said many times on your streams, 70% of the audience gone. So in nobody's book is that a success. That is an absolute out and out abject failure. And they might think 900,000 on iPlayer, what New Year's episode, is a huge success. Well, what were the figures, or what would the figures have been if it had been, because it was like 11 years ago, if it had been Tennant's finale episode? It wouldn't have been 900,000. It'd have been quite a few million. And you have to view it in context. 900,000 is probably a success by Chibnall standards, but Chibnall standards are shit, and it's nothing to get excited about. But he can't write properly, and she can't take an average script and make anything with it. And I feel I've not seen her in other stuff, to be honest. I wasn't a broad watcher or anything like that, but I just think any real proper actor can take a mundane script and to it that you like, or makes you smile, or makes you remember. I remember a few lines of Tom Baker from Underworld, which was hardly the most inspiring Fourth Doctor story, done on a real shoestring budget. But I can remember Tom Baker stuff from that because it was Tom Baker and it was bloody great, and you've got Jodie, she's talking to Graham about his cancer, and it's just like, can't help you, sorry, go back to Sheffield now, all right. And I even hate a voice, and I'm from York, I hate a voice. But I was thinking, and I think when Charlotte was on, and they were talking about, I think it was when Charlotte was on, I was thinking about that conversation that she had in the TARDIS with the other planet, Ryan, and about change and everything else. And I thought, it reminded me, I checked on YouTube for the actual clip, and there was a scene in episode Trial of the Time Lord, when Perry and the Doctor were on this, thought they were on this planet called Revelox, and they found Marble Arch Underground Station. Perry got really upset, and Colin Baker, who wasn't known for his touching emotional scenes, you know, he was supposed to be droppier than Capaldi, you know, said to her, you know how you feel, jotted it down, I know how you feel, and then your world is safe, because obviously her world was a few 100,000 years before. He said, I'm sorry, look at it this way. Planets come and go, stars perish, matter disperses, coalesces, reforms into other patterns, other worlds, and none can be eternal. And it's just the way he said it. And he just put so much into it. And then you've got Jodie Whittaker and Toysin Cole or whatever, and they're saying, oh yeah, you got to change, just embrace it. It's just there's no emotion there, feeling. It's worse than watching paint dry. And yeah, it just D for BBC. Rest Doctor Who for a couple of years and then bring it back on a streaming platform where people actually pay to it. And I think you said earlier that the TV license is a relic, and I agree with you. It is a relic. We are forced to fund something that, because it knows we're going to pay for it, otherwise we'll have legal action. They know we have to pay for it, so they don't have any respect for us, because if you pay for something, then in a sense you have them by the balls a little bit, but they know that they kiss 2 fingers and we still have to pay for them, and we are forced to fund their left-wing woke propaganda, and I think there's just no accountability, and I think it's disgraceful.
No, I agree with you. They do have to be held to some sort of account. It's and let's hope, you know, we're hearing of people legally revoking their TV license. If you can do it legally, you know, obviously money is tight. People mightn't be able to afford to stream TV. We're obviously asking those people that can. If you do have like TV from the BBC and you pay for it, but you watch streaming services anyway, why would you have it when you can watch everything on streaming services? I would say legally do it, and if you can afford it, please get rid of the TV license, because that's the only way that BBC will ever listen. If it's taken away from them, because that'll hurt them. They need that money, like, you know. So even the ex-BBC chief from a few years back even said, if the TV license was to go, BBC would be in peril. They don't have a backup plan. That's the problem. They don't have one. So that's the thing, because they rely so much on the TV license that they lose that. They no backup plan. Now they're trying new things, like with the likes of BritBox and stuff like that. But it's not going to work because they're too late into the game. They're too late. They should have had a proper streaming service 5 years back. If they were going to do something like this.
I think about 5 or 6 years ago, there was talk. It was just rumor. There's a friend of mine who he doesn't frequent the streams or anything like that, but mine, he used to work for the BBC, and until ill health stopped him, he worked primarily on EastEnders, but he's still got a lot of contacts, and he said that they were looking at one point, and they canned it right at the very last minute. They were going to do a pay-per-view streaming to specifically BBC stuff, and there was a rumor at the time that Phil had found a lot more of the Doctor Who archives than what actually came out, you know, when he found Me of the World and Web of Fear. That there was the rumor that there'd been a lot more found, but it was being held back to lump with a load of other stuff to launch this big BBC site. And that Doctor Who side of rumor doesn't appear to have been true, sadly. But they canned it, and I think they canned it because ITV and everything then wanted to come on board, and they pushed it as BritBox. So yeah, 4, 5, 6 years ago would have been a better idea, and at one point, like, they were going to do it, but they didn't. They missed the boat as usual. I think if they were more driven by market forces, then perhaps they would do things better and in a timely
If they were
manner.
run by people that could actually run the organization, then they wouldn't be in the situation that they're in. But it's run by idiots. It's run by people that haven't earned their place there at the BBC, to be quite frank with you. And you can tell. And even the new people that they're employing now in high positions within the BBC to try sort out the BBC, if you look at their hiring, you can tell that these people don't have experience in what they're being hired to do. So again, they're making the same mistakes over and over. The only way that you can send BBC a message is to do what I think it's 300,000 people a day, apparently. Is it a day or a week or something? Or handing back their TV license and telling BBC to go and stuff it. So if you could do it legally and you can afford it, please do so. If you can't, that's fine as well. There's other ways of hurting the BBC by not buying their merchandise for their shows and stuff like that. Fans have to start taking, and the general public. Well, look at. I think the British public have already told the BBC what they've already known but ignored for a long time. Look at our ratings across the whole festive special. Now, I did put up a video about the iPlayer getting record numbers or whatever. They could be lying through their teeth, but the I can't say the word. But their normal TV, right? The BBC, the overnights, the whatever, they're all down across the board. Every show, EastEnders, the Top Gear, the Doctor Who, they're been down for years, right? And they know this now. So look, this is the final stretch. They either change now, or BBC, they're not going to survive this. They won't survive this.
No,
it's not Doctor Who that's a problem. BBC have really serious big issues from the top down, and unless it's sorted, and we're made to believe that Tim Davie and now his chair are going to sort out the BBC. Well, I've heard enough talking from Tim Davie right now. I want to see action now. Enough talking, want to see the action now. You're going to implement all of these things that you said you're going to implement. Well, then do it. I know he's done one or two things, but it's not good enough. It's at too slow a pace now. I know he's got his chair there now, so let's hope they up the speed, because if they don't, BBC is not going to last. And it's sad because BBC is, like everything, it's very British. And a lot of people back in the day, especially during the war, BBC was the place where everybody listened to the BBC worldwide. They were known worldwide.
It's where it built its reputation of being trustworthy and everything. And now
being one of the
it just seems to be very. Even today, they've been caught for putting photos supposedly saying lorries are queuing the south coast because of Brexit. And it's come out today that they've had to take it down because they're showing a photo from France from September and trying to pass offers to. And it's just like, don't do it. You just ruin a reputation that, never mind.
Well, they seem to be in the job of doing that over the years, though, with the Jimmy Savile stuff and then all the other stuff that came out. They just seem to be on a path of destruction. But listen, we have sadly run out of time. Would you like to plug any channels or social medias before you leave?
I'm on Twitter, Third Doctor. I'm on YouTube if you search for Third Doctor, doing special effect replacement, stuff like that. But no real channels this time. I've put it on Twitter a few times. I think if Doctor Who, a new Doctor for me, would be the Joe Gilgun from Preacher, heavily tattooed, an Irish character. I think he'd be a brilliant Doctor.
He was also in this.
Yeah, that's right. And the Master, Tom, who also appeared in Martha's final episode, Tom Ellis from Lucifer. I think he'd be a brilliant Master, but that's my final word.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And listen, you have a good weekend and stay safe and look after yourself.
Too,
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
And that was the Third Doctor. That was an absolutely fantastic call. Right, we're going to end the night Listen, Lex, the blah, 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 blah. Lex, sorry about that, pal. Literally, Lee has explained it. But listen, if you come in next week, what I'll do is wherever you are on the list, I think everybody will agree that when you come in, we'll bring you on. Whoever is on while you come into the chat, will bring you on next. So if you want to come on next week, you're more than welcome. But we've got John now to finish off the night. John stayed, so we'll bring him on. Hello, John. Can you hear me, John? Oh, we've lost John. We'll give him a couple of seconds, because normally he comes back in again. He's probably using his mobile phone. So sometimes the mobile phone can be a bit dodgy. So we'll give him a second. Hopefully we can hear him. But I see there's a couple of people suggesting Toby Whithouse for showrunner, Ben Wishaw's doctor. And Lee reckons that if they go with another female doctor straight after this one, it will actually kill the show. I think a lot of people are thinking like that. I don't think they will go down that route. That's why we haven't had a response from the BBC. As I said, I've theorized that some people are speculating that the announcement will be made in the summer. But I think there could be a possibility that they won't announce this until probably just before Series 13 airs, or maybe in the middle of Series 13 to generate the hype for the end of the series. And remember, there's rumors flying about now that we might actually get 6 episodes and 2 specials, and that's your 8. So again, Series 13 might be reduced by another 2 episodes again. Right. Well, listen, I'm gonna actually leave it there. So I'm gonna bring Lee on just to finish the night off, because obviously he was listening in the background and making sure that everybody was legit. Sorry about the third doctor there. Should have told you he was legit. He had his camera on. That was my fault there. If there was a misunderstanding there, I think it was sorted out anyway. But that was my fault there. Should have let you know. Yeah, everything is done. Hold on, we might have John, so I'm going to give him the opportunity. Actually, he just got in just as I was about to say. I was about to say we were done there, but we'll see if he's here. John, are you with us?
Yes, typically it just cut out just as I came on, but I'm fine. I'm here now.
We got you. That's the main thing. Right, John. Obviously, I don't know what you want to talk about. I don't know if you're going to continue on from the conversation that we've all had tonight, or you want to talk about something completely different. So the floor is yours, pal. Go ahead.
Well, I've got 2 things I'd like to mention. Say if Doctor Who did finish on the 60th and it ended the rest of it, I was just wondering, what sort of program would you like to return? Like, I'd like Blake 7 to return if it had the correct writer. Or I'm watching on BritBox at the minute, The Avengers, which I'm really enjoying. Yeah. I just wondered out there what sort of show people would like.
I don't know now, because I mean, they didn't seem to like. Well, there was some of us that liked the darker kind of Peter Capaldi's first season. I liked it, but then Moffat then decided to lighten it a little bit, and then he didn't know where to bring it. Kind of season 9, even though I do like it, and there's some good episodes. Peter's Doctor is all over the place. One minute he's kind of nice, next minute. So I don't know. Do people want a light-hearted Doctor? Do you just want a light-hearted series, I should say, or a more darker series? I mean, we've had 3 years of fluff. Let's be honest. Do we want more fluff this way? I mean, even if it was written better, do people want Doctor Who to carry on the way Chris Chibnall's vision is, which is more fluff, more accessible, or do they want it to go back to the kind of RTD where he made it accessible for not just for everybody but for the fans as well. I think that's what's missing with Chibnall. He kind of just wants to replace the fandom. But you're right. What kind of series would you like to see? I mean, would you want a more darker one, or would you like to see a more light-hearted?
Occasional light episode where it's fun. I think you need a good mixture of both, really. I think that's how it works better. I've just had a recurring nightmare though that John Bishop's going to be the next Doctor. He's going to turn up with a fob watch. I don't know why, but that's just something Chibnall would do.
Yeah, you know what? At this stage, I don't really care what he does in Series 13 because I think the fans have already made up their minds. The fans have already made up their mind. It's clear that until that man is gone, they're not actually going to come back. And that's sad. But look, you're right. The next series, whoever takes over it when Chris Chibnall leaves, we don't know when he's leaving. It's obviously it's being rumored that Whittaker is definitely leaving now. Does that mean that Chibnall's going to follow suit, or is he staying on? As it's rumored to be said, he's staying on. But I mean, until he's gone, I mean, the next showrunner and the next Doctor, in my opinion, and the tone of the show, whatever who this new showrunner is, John, and when they start talking, what kind of tone of series are we going to get? That's going to be very crucial and critical, in my opinion. They will have to hit the ground running like they did in 2005. What do you think about that?
Well, RTD, he had the right idea when he brought it back in 2005. He had the right Doctor. So basically, you need somebody with a good range for a start. And there's quite a few good actors out there. But it's getting the right writers as well. It's not just the showrunner. You need backup writers as well, what can write good. We had that in the last 15 years where we had good backup writers.
As one of my guests said, John, they said, what self-respecting actor or even actress, with that being said, would actually take this role on after Jodie Whittaker? Like, who? I mean, it is a fair point to make. I mean, who are they going to go? Look, the rumors do seem to be more household names than we're normally used to when it comes to Doctor Who. Yeah, it's always kind of an unknown or an outsider, someone that we don't know too well, and then they obviously dazzle us then when they come on the first episode. But do you think they'll go for? Because what my theory is, I reckon this time round, even though it's always kind of been the way that they go for an unknown, but in this moment in time, I believe it's critical that they do go with a name, because I think they need a name to bring some of those fans back that tuned out. What do you think? Do you think a name or an unknown would work better? Which do you think?
Well, I think somebody you don't have to be an established actor, but has been seen on the TV in a couple of series. So I think when you tune in, you think, oh, I can remember him. Yeah, he might be a good Doctor. I'll tune in. So I think somebody with a bit of background in TV, maybe films, but basically, I think Richard Iodi will be a good Doctor. That's my personal view. Some people say he hasn't got the range, but I think he would be a fun Doctor. I'm not sure he's like on his serious acting. I've never seen it, but he'd be up in there in my top 5.
Well, he's kind of my choice as well. A lot of people say that he wouldn't be able to do the kind of the more serious stuff. Okay, I will give you that. All I've ever seen him in is comedy stuff. I have actually seen him in the Crystal Maze where he is himself, and he can come across quite strict. So I'm not so sure. I don't know. I think he'd be like in the Doctor Who universe, he would be like a Heath Ledger kind of casting, like it was for when the Batman fans found out that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker. They kicked up stink, and look what happened there. I think there'd be an element of that with his casting, but you know, actors, look at. I'll put it to you this way, right? John makes a valid point because but I will put it to you this way. We have all comedians out there that we love, right? And we've seen them in a lot of comedies, and then they take on a serious role, and we kind of take a step back and go, what the hell are they doing? They're comedians, right? And then they do the serious role, and we're like, holy shit, that was amazing. This is what this guy could be to Doctor Who. I think he would be an out-of-the-box one. But not only that, I think he'd satisfy as well a lot of geeks, because he is very, you know, I've seen him in the IT crowd. As I said, I've watched him in the new updated Crystal Maze. I've watched him in the movie with Ben Stiller. He's an actor I actually like. So if he was together, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd give him a go to see if he can play the role. You know, I'd be willing to give him time the way I did with Jodie Whittaker. I mean, I gave Jodie Whittaker 3 seasons to get it right. I'm pretty sure I could give him 1 season to see if he could actually do it. But we don't know what his range is, because...
Well, look at Rowan Atkinson. He surprised everybody. He was a comedian. And is it May Gray was in? He was really good in that. And he played the Doctor in that comedy sketch. And he was pretty good. I thought he'd made a good Doctor. So it is possible that this Richard could be very good as well.
Sorry, I just seen something there. Problem being,
it's all right.
Equals Heath Ledger. Get off the drugs, no. Feck off. Look, I've said it for a long time, even before. I said this last year, and even during Series 11, that he was my choice. I've even thrown his picture up a good few times on Twitter. He is someone that I think that fans don't see. This is the thing. See Lee's reaction there. That's fantastic. Because I'll tell you why. That's fantastic. Because if this guy was to come in and totally blow it out of the park, right, that would be the best gift for Lee. Because then, think about it. You fans that don't think he is good enough, imagine if he came in and he blew you out of the water. That'd be even better. You would have that feeling again. You know, he's amazed us. That's what we need. I think we need someone like that. You know,
Well, I had that with Matt Smith. Matt Smith, I wasn't keen on him at first. I thought, he's going to be a rubbish Doctor. I don't know who he is. He's too young. You know, he looks too wacky. But when I saw him in that first episode, I thought, yeah, he's the Doctor. And I think that's what a few, you know, give him chance. I think he'd be a great Doctor. I really do.
Well, I certainly think he'd be one that would get the fandom talking anyway, because already they're in the chat there talking away. So he definitely would be a choice, the fans. But remember, people, a good point there. John Pertwee only did comedy, right? And then look how good he was. You know,
excellent Doctor.
So, I mean, look, Lee brought up. Well done, Lee. That's a very valid point there, and I'm going to throw that up on the screen. Right, comedians have done it before. So look, you're right. We don't know his range, right? We don't know his serious range, but we do know that he's a comedian and he's funny. And trust me, as the Doctor, if they were doing funny moments, I can see him being funny in a great costume and all. I even have the costume pictured in my head. A long jacket like Matt Smith's. Yeah. Kind of like a cross between a bow tie and a feckin' a scarf kind of thing, hybrid going on there, right? A frilly kind of short, right? And then you've got the slacks, right, and a nice pair of boots. I'm telling you, man, he would look great as the bleeding Doctor, man. Telling you, put him in.
Definitely.
Put put him in Colin Baker's Big Finish outfit, the blue one, right? And he'd look amazing even. But change the colour, change it to purple. A bit like, do you know what, actually? Do you know what makes costume like? A bit like Prince's Purple Rain costume, but with a long jacket. That's his doctor right there, right?
Yeah.
Telling you, give him a screwdriver and say, oh, no, it's crazy. You probably all do think I am on drugs, but give him a go. Okay, give him a go. Give him a year. Yeah, listen, he can't be any worse than what we've got. Right, you can't be any worse.
And one companion, just one companion. I think they could bounce off each other a bit better then.
Yeah. Or he could bring in another young couple. He could do a Rose and you could do a Rory and a
Amy and Amy.
You know,
yeah,
could, but I think to be safe, one companion, yes, and definitely an actress that's an unknown as well, but someone that. You know, relatively unknown. Bring someone in that we've seen in a few things, as John has said, but someone that we know is a safe pair of hands. But yeah, you either, right, there's two ways to go about this. You either go with someone that's totally out of the box, right, this time. I know we did with Jodie, right, and people will make that point. But we either go with this guy, we go with a safe pair of hands, right? So they either go two ways. That's the way BBC will do it. They'll either go gung-ho and hope that the out-of-the-box choice works, or they go with a safe pair of hands and hope that they can bring an audience back then they can go gung-ho for a few 1 or 2 years after. You know, it's going to be interesting. It's interesting. Even talking about it now, talking about these are different doctors. See, this is going to stir the fandom again, though. This is the thing. This is what always happens. Things like this stir the fandom again. The fandom is coming alive again. People are starting to chat. People that I haven't seen in ages that have totally went away from social media because of the nonsense, all of a sudden are starting to pipe up again because there's this glimmer of hope.
Everybody's come out of hibernation now. Everybody seems to have woke up.
That's it. So hopefully, you know, we get the news that we all want, which is the departure of the man himself, Chris Chibnall. But until then, you know, it doesn't matter. As I said, it doesn't matter who he brings in. Doesn't matter who he brings in.
Well, if she does go after these 8 episodes, that gives us another 2 years to turn it round, and we could retcon it on the 60th anniversary. You know, get Chris Eccleston in, Tennant, Smith. I don't know if Capaldi will be up for it, how he was treated, but I'm very sure Jodie won't be back because she'd want to move on to new stuff. You know, spread her wings a little.
You're right. Peter Capaldi, in my opinion, should be in the 60th, and they should be giving him a big check after the way he was, the way he left, or the way he was pushed out, or whatever. But even his story that he left on was pathetic. He deserves better than that. So they better bring him back for the 60th, or convince him and all. You know, throw whatever money you have to at him. You get him back for that 60th. End of. I won't know. I will not tolerate him not being in the 60th. I don't care about Eccleston at this stage. He's still being a mounhole. If he doesn't want to be in it, fine. Right? Bring back Peter Capaldi. And as for Jodie Whittaker, whether she's in the 60th or not, I don't give a crap. I do not give a crap.
If she was in it.
She could be not in it.
If she was in it, you wouldn't notice her.
Overshadowed anyway, or it'll be very cleverly written that she's not in it that much, like they did with the Force Doctor, so that she doesn't get shown up. I'm telling you now. Or maybe she might impress us in the 60th because maybe Chris Chibnall won't be there and she'll probably be directed and the story be written by someone that's decent, and they'll actually give her direction on how she should have played her bleeding character. And she might surprise us all. We all say, there you go. That's what Chris Chibnall should have gave us. But he didn't. He gave us this rubbish. So that's it. I'm not going to get into another rant anyway. But we have run out of time, John. John, do you want to plug any social medias before you head off tonight, pal?
I'd just like to plug Daniel's hub because you know, he puts a lot of effort into it, and I can't wait to see him come back on the show.
Yeah,
Because he
same
always
here.
puts a lot of input.
I know he does. He will be back. He's just feeling a little bit down at the moment, like most of us. But you know, it's taking its toll on Daniel because he literally lives for Celtic, and he can't go and see them. He can only see them on the TV, and he wants to be there screaming at Celtic Park and giving out as he does. I spotted him there. What was it last year? I think he was in here earlier on. It was either last year or the year before, and I was watching highlights of Scottish bloody football. No, I was watching the match live actually, and I said, I think that's Daniel in the crowd, and literally, it was. Took a photograph, sent it to him. I got him clear and all on the screen. I said, Daniel, that's you at the Celtic match earlier, wasn't it? And he goes, yeah, that was me. I said, what were you doing?
Great stuff.
Giving out there. He was giving out your one because he was trying to see someone. Well, you love football, but that's what he misses. He misses the banter. And he just right now he feels like he has to spend time with his family and he just wants to do his channel by himself, you know, just concentrate on his channel for a while. And that's okay. When he's ready to come back, as he knows, I said it at the start of the stream, I'll say it again. He always has a place on this channel and always will. So as long as I'm here anyway running it, he'll always have it. I don't know if I'm gone. We haven't decided that yet, but like, yeah, he'll always have a place on this channel. So if you're out there, Daniel, enjoy your night off and enjoy your weekend, pal. And thanks, John, for plugging his channel. And please do subscribe to his channel. Give him something to be cheerful about. Let's get those subscribers up.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks, John, for coming on. Listen, you enjoy your weekend, and thanks for coming back on. It was touch and go there for
Thank
a while.
you, Noel.
Got you on. So good night. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
No problem. See you. Good night. Right, and that's it. So we're just going to bring Lee on for a couple of seconds because we're going to finish up now. I have to have something to eat. We're 3 hours and 12 minutes in as well. Jesus, I can't believe we actually made it through. But a great stream tonight. Do you know what? I have to be honest. These Tardis Zone talks are my favorite. They're becoming my favorite for the simple reason is they keep getting better every time. I think this has been the best night so far. The conversation didn't drift. We stuck the topic. Everybody wanted to talk about the same thing as well, which was great as well. And there were so many valid points made. Let's see what Lee thought of it all. Lee,
hello. Back. Thank you. Yeah, really great calls. Really impressed with everyone. Some great points and some great new faces too. So that was really good. Yeah, apologies to Alex and Jack there for you not being able to come on, but hopefully you'll be on Friday. If you come in early, we can get you on early. That'll be good. Babette, what a fantastic call. I love that. Subscribe to that channel. That's one to watch. Yeah, really good. Really pleased.
Yeah, it was good range of calls, and have to say again, Charlotte started off the night with a bit of a bang with her.
Charlotte always knows what she's talking about.
More valid points again made by Charlotte again tonight. Everybody made some great points, all valid in my opinion.
And I think Ray as well, when Ray was talking about that little dig that Matt Smith said with my brain's gone.
With Billy Piper.
Downgrading, But it was her response as soon as he said it's been downgraded, and there was a little pause, and she sort of like couldn't help but laugh. And I think that I got from that they had this conversation before.
Yes, yeah.
It looked like a familiar, like a little joke between them, because it seemed so evident to me, like they've had this conversation before. Yeah. And I thought they've been bitching about this show like behind the backs. Yeah. It was so clear to me.
Well, here's the thing. The interesting thing is Matt Smith and Billy Piper a David Tennant. They're all friends. They all like still talk to each other. It's so evident that
But you can tell they've got like the little private conversations, what's going on, and they're not happy with this, or they think it's funny, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
You can tell. I mean, we've all had these sort of similar conversations with our own friends, and that response there, that little thing, that sort of knowing look, the knowing laugh, we know that. We've all experienced that with our friends. So it was so clear to me that this is a little in-joke between them. Yeah. Like, I think he saw that line when she said, "I've had an upgrade." Yeah. And I bet he, like, if he was drinking coffee, he would have been,
yeah,
like, excuse me. I can definitely see that.
And I say deep down, I know they're laughing about it, but that's maybe their coping mechanism.
Yeah, right, because they're forever connected with this embarrassment.
They don't want to see this guy.
No, because they're forever connected to it. Like they were there at its absolute peak, and then here they are discussing it now. What are they supposed to say? It's embarrassing for them, because it's just like everything that they worked so hard to produce, all this wonderful stuff, is now just a mockery, and it's forever. They're forever connected to that, and it's such a shame.
I know
it is. It's their legacy. It is their legacy.
It is. And I think, look, it'll all come out in the end when this era is over. A few years down the line, there'll be whispers, and then those whispers will get stronger, and then before you know it, then there'll be
books made about it, TV shows made about it.
I'm telling you, man, there was this era of Doctor Who from start to finish. I do believe, from stuff that I've received over the last few years, let's just say last couple of years, I can honestly say, if I was to put that all together and come up with my own conclusion, I can tell you now that with all of that information, that from start to finish, this era was always going to be a failure, because from day one, there were problems. They all knew what to look at. Chibnall would have sat them down and told them what he had planned. I guarantee it. And I guarantee it, few objected. And ever since then, there's been nothing but problems carried on into Series 12, the problems during Series 11. Remember, they're very first series and there was problems. Now, okay, granted, there normally is, but not the big issues that were being reported on that they were having. Then you get into Series 12, and then that continues on. Then we have the whole chaos in Cardiff. Chibnall runs off like a little bitch. And I don't care if you want to say that didn't happen. There's loads of evidence to back it up. It's there for everybody to see. You can deny it all you want. At the end of the day, this era of Chib, someone said it, has been nothing but toxic, and it's been toxic behind the scenes. And you know what? Do you know how we know that? Because it reflects the fandom that as it is now. They're toxic. The supporters of this are toxic because the production team are toxic. Remember,
well, it's obvious. It's obvious. All you need to do is watch the thing, and you can see it's a fucking mess, right? It none of it makes sense. It's so convoluted. It's so sloppily done. The execution, it's in disarray. There's no way, if it was an organized, well-oiled machine, that it could ever turn out like that.
Exactly.
No way. Like, if people knew what the hell they were doing, this wouldn't be like this. And that's from top to bottom, all the way through. And it's so evident. Anyone defending this era is out of their fucking mind. I'm sorry, you are out of your mind. There is no way. Like Babette said, it is the height of mediocrity.
Yeah.
It's unimaginative. It's plagiarizing. It's repeating tropes, the plot holes, the sloppy dialogue, the lack of character development, the on the nose politics, all of that. It's so dull and it's so badly put together. It's cobbled together like, someone with a Meccano kit, put together the Daleks. I mean, it's just nonsense. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you like this era. I'm sure there are a few, but I would seriously ask you to really look at it and look at one of her episodes and look at one of the great classics, whether it be from Tennant Smith or from Pertwee or Baker, and really ask yourself, does that really hold up? Does it really hold up?
It does. It does to them, because I'll tell you why. It's quite simple, right? See, back in 2005 and onwards until we got to this era, well, you could see it creeping into Peter Capaldi's era.
Well, even
Here's the
Smith's era.
thing. The level of intelligence since Doctor Who has been on in society, unfortunately, has actually dropped. So that's why they've dumbed down this show, because you see, if they had acted like they had in 2005,
I don't think it's that. I think they're just being dishonest. I think they're just being dishonest. I think they know full well it's shit, but because of the messaging, because it's on point with their ideology and what they've been educated with at university, they will defend it to the hilt because it's a woman, because it's their kind of politics, because it's the Joe Doctor and all these things. It's all pandering to them because it panders to their narcissistic need for self-validation, to be seen on screen and to be represented, and to all the buzzwords and terminology. They will defend it for that reason alone. If you take them on their own, you can see them talking amongst themselves how much they resent Chibnall for not putting Joe's Doctor front and center.
Why not?
Or bringing her back for more screen time, and so they're already attacking him anyway.
Yeah, and they complained about the fact that John Bishop is now coming into the TARDIS because they can't have their little
shipping,
little love in now. So they're. Oh, by the way, remember,
which is queer baiting, by the way. That's a thing.
Remember, I said something about a van and the TARDIS, right? Now, I did actually say that the chameleon circuit be changed, but then I was saying, well, maybe because source information. But remember, this new companion has a van. This new companion has a van. So what if she's put the TARDIS somewhere because she can't fly around the TARDIS? Or what if they're doing a Pertwee and she's stranded on Earth and can't use the TARDIS and it's gone around?
Well, notice that. I mean. Even so, they still managed to get the TARDIS a police box, right? They managed to do a scene where they make it implode. You see how it's sort of crumpled up? That's the only scene I've seen.
Oh, that was probably to appease all the cop haters out there.
Yeah, exactly.
I won't go there because I don't want to get political. But listen, we're going to leave it at that because we could talk all night. But I want to thank all my guests who came on tonight. You are all brilliant. I have to be honest. Listen, seriously, these Friday nights, I've made no secret that I love the TARDIS Zone Talks because it gives. We normally talk about different stuff, but tonight, I mean, on the topic and subject, Chris Chibnall and all that other nonsense, this was absolutely fantastic. So thank you all for coming on. Everybody in the chat for the super chats, and Lee for doing your job. And I know there's some people out there that probably think Lee is a little bit too heavy-handed in what he does. But listen, I'm just going to make this clear. I don't care because I need to protect this channel. Lee loves this channel and is going to do everything in his power to protect this channel. So we have certain rules. And the rules are, if you want to come on. Now, it was my fault tonight. Obviously, I should have alerted Lee that it was who it was. But if he does ask you to just give your social media, please don't make a big deal out of it and just do it, because it saves a lot of argument.
It would save time if you just came on and said, hi, I'm such and such. Here's my social media or my channel.
Yeah.
Boom, done. I don't need to ask. or show Noel that you've got your cam if you're coming on with your camera, or even if you're not, but you can show that that's who you are, and then you can go off camera. Fine, do that so Noel can see you and let me know.
Well, it was my fault because the third Doctor did show his face, but I never alerted Lee. So I knew
it would be him anyway.
And it's just, listen, in fairness, I think people understand because we've had obviously all of this nonsense, but we've been doing great, and we're going to continue to keep it safe for you out there. And we're going to protect this channel at all costs because people like this channel. People love coming to this channel, and we've built a nice little community. So, listen, thanks for the super chats. I really appreciate it, folks. And Chris, there's Chris. He's back. Chris is hopping between streams, so I don't want to keep him any longer. But thank you, and Lee, of course. Thank you for doing your bit for the channel as well as always, and modding as well at the same time. You've been doing great. And I think that's it. So back to tomorrow for a new Who and classic Who. So join us for that. So that's it. So say good night, Lee.
Good night, Lee.
Okay, let's do that again. Say good night, Lee.
Good night, Lee.
Okay, say I'm Lee, good night.
I'm Lee, good night.
And I have been your host.
And I have been your host.
No, well, he's been.
No.
Oh, Jesus, now he's repeating.
Oh, Jesus, now.
Right, stop now, stop.
All right, okay.
Okay, right. All serious now. Right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and we will see you very, very soon. And stay safe, as I said. Right, I'm off to get something to eat. What time is it? Jeez, this is the latest I've actually had something to eat. This is getting ridiculous, but I'm gonna go off and have something to eat before I end up being a starving human.
Well, don't eat any carbs, otherwise you'll be up all night.
Yeah. I'm gonna eat plenty of carbs. Brilliant.
Okay.
Lovely. Right. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks. And Lee, thanks again. And see you later.
Bye.